and welcome back to the CodeRed channel. It is, of course, the final day of the CoR European Showdown, and what a day it looks like it's going to be. It's going to shape up. It's going to be a very interesting day today. We're looking at the tables, finally we've got the leaderboard updated, and, let's just go straight in, Harry, and have a look on how that is looking today.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, first day, obviously, yesterday, last day today. And, disgusting. Absolutely were disgusting. And coming out, with such a big lead from the one day. I mean, they had 19 points, I think it was, on the whole of last week. And they come out and they get 25 points in game number 1. They have another amazing win on game number 2 as well. And come second on the last map as well. So, huge performances coming out from them. I suppose the real question is, can they keep it up? Because, you can look at the points there. You've got placement points, 27 points, kills 31. If you look at around the teams that are kind of, around them on the table, obviously not very close to them, but the amount of kill points that they've been able to pick up is almost as many, and they haven't had a win yet, or they haven't been, in a good position. Their placement points clearly not as good. So it is going to be one of those things where it's like, well, can they hold off, or was it just because they were in the right place at the right time is the main question. They're getting the kills, but is that kind of that they're being gifted them a little bit? They don't really have to move too much. Obviously really hoping Dig do manage to do it. I think that'd be a massive turnaround for them, especially 15th in week 1 coming in and coming into, finishing off in the top 3. You'd hope from their performance yesterday as well. Would be great to see them in the money.
It really would, and they do have a bit of a lead. I think 24 points is, we can see there over TSS, who have been performing very well throughout the event. Skyline not far off them as well, CoR in contention as well, but a lot of teams further down. But disgusting, of course, 2 first places, a second place, and I think a 5th or 6th. So placement points were massive there, but you look at that, and you're talking sort of 14, 15 points a game they average. And I really hope they can keep it up, because it'll be great to see them do something here. I don't thinking back, I can't remember ever seeing them do something in any of our events towards the top of the leaderboard. But
no,
if they could do this, it would be massive. It'd be really good for
100%. And we kind of had the discussion after the upper bracket as well games finished. 7 out of the 8 qualified teams, or invited teams, sorry, managed to qualify from that week. The team that didn't was Dig. So
right.
The fact that they're coming top the last week kind of shows that maybe that extra bit of game time really did pay them well. But yeah, we are going to the first map. It's going to be a Miramar, which obviously was the only map that Dig weren't able to win all the maps of yesterday. So it'd be interesting to see how they managed to start this one off. But yeah, it's a nice looking playing path. Most people should be pretty happy with this one, and hopefully it leads to a really exciting game.
Yeah, I wonder if we're going to see some contested areas. GT and WC going to be looking around them, that middle Picardo area. GT opting for a little bit of a lower drop this time, going towards Los Leones. Case 7 actually coming down. No, they're not stretching Picardo, so surely they're stretching a little bit further there. Thought maybe they were going to be coming down and contesting. Of course, BT and M-White in and around this area, so already a lot of congestion around that middle, but teams do have that room to loot, so I don't think they're too worried just yet.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not seeing too many teams that are going to have some problems. Lizard looks like he's a little bit close to Dub Hub, but yeah, sort of pushing back to the rest of his team there. Around my cruise to Val, Dub Hub going to go to Torre, which is their alternate drop, so they're going to be pretty happy with that. GT, pushing down towards Los Leones. We know they like to loot around there, so they're going to be pretty happy with that as well. So, while everyone's rotating around, we can have a little look, or we don't think we can get it up on screen, but we can kind of just discuss the overall leaderboard as well, because obviously there is a prize for first overall. In K7, really dominant first week. Not so convincing yesterday, it's got to be said, but I think, with the lead they managed to pull off in week number 1, they've still got a sizable lead. They've got 33 points over TSS, who are currently our second team on that overall leaderboard. CoR coming in 3rd with 93 points. So, there's still something to play for up at the top as well, and it's going to take a big performance from some of these teams. Dig obviously pushing themselves up to 6th on that leaderboard, but the problem is they didn't really have a very, very successful first week. So I think they're going to really struggle to be able to be in contention for that. They need a 60-point game bigger than what K7 are going to get today, which, looking at the roster that K7 have brought out, I don't see Dig being able to get 60 points more than them. Dig have shown they can get nearly 60 points in a day, but K7 still picked up at least 20 yesterday to keep that gap there.
Yeah, it is going to be a tough ask, especially as K7 aren't a team to crumble under the pressure. I'm sure they've got their sights set on that first place. Maybe not today, but we've seen them jump back up. Of course, it's a fresh day, and why can't they challenge for that first place? We've definitely seen them pull out some massive games, but they're going to have to play these zones well, especially these kind of circles here. It does lend itself to coming in late. Their kind of play style, kind of I don't want to say hiding away, but keeping yourselves to yourselves and kind of backfilling into teams, which we did see towards the end of yesterday, actually.
Yeah, exactly. It was a weird day yesterday. I think we kind of discussed it yesterday after the games. It felt like the pressure of PCL, or not the pressure, but the intensity of PCL kind of got to these teams yesterday. Like where they'd been fully focused for 15 games over the weekend for a big prize, and then all of a sudden they come into this one and then go, oh. It just felt like they weren't quite prepared for it. People were going for full crashes. The top teams that you expected to do well weren't performing as well as you expected. It was a little bit wild, but maybe with having that extra day to kind of, recuperate a little bit, kind of come off of that and go, you know what, it's the final day. Let's really go for it now. I think they're going to start putting the pressure back on, and that will mean that Dig are going to have their work cut out to try and stay up on top.
Yeah, it's not going to be an easy one for sure, and you wonder where they're going to move in on this one, because they were gifted a couple of zones, but you play the zones you're given. But for now, you wonder, do they sort of centre up on this middle hill? We see EXHBT kind of already making their way over M-Way as well. Not actually many teams in the zone. We're used to seeing a few more in, actually. A lot of teams going to have to kind of shift their way in, and Dub Hub Hacker seems to have missed the plane, unfortunately, as well. He's right at the top of Campo as well, so he's going to have to come in. Agueta, you wonder, I don't know, do you come through the middle if you're Agueta here? Do you come through San Martin, or do you go around the north? Do you take it really wide?
I mean, it's quite congested in the middle. The thing is, most of these teams should start moving, I think. As you kind of have a look, R&V haven't started moving yet, but you got Skyline already moving, Torch moving, WC, CoR. All of those teams kind of on that side are already on their way in. So I don't think it's too much of an issue to push through the middle of the map normally, if especially if you are one of these teams that generally tend to go a little bit later, or you've had a late drop. You are going to be that little bit behind, and you kind of hope that all these teams are going to move. But yeah, of course, it doesn't always play out that way. So we might see some wide rotates just to make sure they don't run into any teams and have some unnecessary action on the rotates.
Yeah, you're right. Teams now making their way, and WC Traits is playing. Didn't even spot him there. I'm sure you spotted him in the lobby, but great to see him back with the tag on as well. And they're going to come straight through the top of Chummy here, just across the northern area. It's a nice little strong rotate actually, and you can get a very good position here. Players need to be careful elsewhere though, because CoR, Sharky, he's taking on the whole of BT himself, and he's going to be careful because M-Way are just the other side as well. They could opt to get involved in this, especially as CoR have kind of resigned themselves to this bunkered area. It's not one you really want to be playing, but we'll see how it works out for them.
Yeah, exactly. Sonny trying to see if he can catch Sharky with that K9, and Donny is actually going to be able to find him, and he dies from falling, goes flying from that buggy, and that's really unfortunate because was in cover when the knock came through, and just yeah, I mean, the tyre seemed to have popped at the same time as the connections came through by the looks of things, and yeah, unfortunately, CoR are going to lose one, and now feel like that was a little bit unfortunate for them, really. Yeah, just kind of goes the way that most of their games were going yesterday, really, losing one early or losing a couple early, and not really able to recover, apart from obviously that game they did manage to pick up and win on Miramar yesterday. So yeah, not the best start that they would be wanting, but 63 players still up. There's a long way to go in this one, and that's the only team that are going to be at a numbers disadvantage. They are going to start thinking about whether they want to change their play style a little bit, wait for a late game. They are in one of those positions where you can't really be too aggressive from that position. You're kind of just waiting it out. So I think that's not too bad of a position to be when you're only 3 up.
No, I think you're absolutely right here. WC making their way in from the north. Zebo leading the charge in the vehicle. JB hot on his heels as well. 3 in the vehicle. Very risky indeed, especially in the Mirados. But, it does give you that chance to really scout yourself out. And they are going to just find themselves in these coloured buildings just north of TSS, who actually are occupying a 2-2 split for the moment, but with a lot of teams around them, certainly the two on the south side, not really pushable at the moment. You can't imagine we're going to see many teams crash down, although saying that, it looks like Berkey is looking this way, because Berkey and Benzo have just been kind of running around in these hills. I don't think they've really had much to play at all. And I don't really mind these kind of open areas to play, especially, we know Traits especially says, doesn't really like to play the compounds, likes to be out moving around looking for kills, and it's a good spot to potentially find some here.
Yeah, exactly. Got the high ground advantage there as well. Can kind of see out everyone. They've got to be a little bit wary because BHE are going to be just down towards their south there. But yeah, they've got plenty of space to play. They're going to be able to get a lot of information on the zone. And of course, depends on where this zone is going to shift to. But they are looking pretty good for it at the moment. Dead center of this zone. But yeah, as you said, you do have to be a little bit careful on Miramar when you are in one of these central positions, in the open. Because yeah, a lot of teams are going to get sightlines on towards your position.
They really are. Most of the teams now finding their way in. Dubhub have somehow swapped places with Aguita. I thought it was going to be the other way around. Dubhub going to send it straight for that northern side. Aguita going to be taking a fair chunk of blue, but it doesn't matter for the moment because they will actually have a nice little entry point as long as they can try and get here before this zone closes. You know how quickly teams like to rotate, especially in this kind of area. Although, I'm saying that, do you think after this, are we going to see teams suddenly try and send it for different positions? It's maybe one of those where the hillsides may just make it kind of unplayable to really rotate into different areas.
Yeah, it is a bit of a tricky zone, isn't it? You've got so many teams kind of posted up in positions where they can kind of gatekeep you, and Dig are kind of finding that a little bit here as Spicy Bro are trying to regroup with the rest of his team. Taking a lot of fire here from GT. But I think he might be able to just get away from that. I don't know how he's done that, but he does look like he's doing it, and a buggy as well. So yeah, very scary moments there for Dig as they almost lose one. It's the second player to go down in this lobby, but they are going to be able to keep 4 alive for now. And obviously not long until the zone closes, so they'll be looking to regroup, trying to regain their health back up again, get themselves set up and get ready for those rotates if they do need to come through.
Speaking of rotates, Skylink's out on his own in the buggy of all vehicles. Not really what you want to be scouting on. Just gone in between these teams. I mean, I guess you can get up and down those hills pretty easily, but somehow just making it away from Torch and M-Way and RMV all at once for some reason. The rest of Skyline, on that hill just on the north. Be careful with Dubhub looming around, but actually Skylink's opting not to take gas station, maybe aware that other teams are around. The crash could definitely be imminent after scouting that buggy and there's only one person on it.
Yeah, exactly. Doing well to be able to get in towards that position there from Skylinks, and the zone has popped and it's gone over towards EXH's position. And how many times do we see it go over towards this roadside here? It's pretty much a bit of a 50-50 zone. It probably will push towards EXH, but you might see a couple of teams, namely looking like it might be Dig, actually decide to try and go up on towards the western side of the zone. And Aguita also coming in late. They'll be pretty happy with this zone shift, I think, because they'll be able to get themselves a decent position up along that side. But it is going to be a tricky one for most of these teams to be able to find somewhere, because I think the majority of the teams going to want to stick on that eastern side. And with 14 teams occupying half of the zone here, it's going to be a little bit wild, a little bit crazy, and probably a lot of third partying going on.
Yeah, we're seeing some already as TSS making some shots onto MYL, trying to kind of isolate them there, but RMV in the backlines are putting the pressure onto them. Aguita, this late rotate has actually paid off really well for them. They've got the pick of the land really. Anywhere on this western hill they can roll up. You'd imagine they try and get as high up it as they can, but of course you don't want to overcommit, as we said, because you can get so easily caught out on these hills. Elsewhere, Merc leading the charge down the south. F2S, who've only just made their way in through Lost the Owners, and Merc's kind of sending it straight through the middle of them. He's on the bike, luckily, and now he's heard the vehicles. He's going to try and get away from this Komi at the top of the hill. Put a few shots down into him. Takes him out as well off the bike. Lovely shots from range there. He's going to make Komi from the top there, and that's instantly going to get taken away. But elsewhere, it looks like WC are having a few issues.
Yeah, they are. Merc, Traits did actually knock Dynamics with his own vehicle, and unfortunately Townie was in the compound already, so Dynamics gets flushed out very quickly. Macas is going to get knocked there as well, and actually it's Zen King from range going to be able to find Traits, so WC really on the back foot, and there we go. GT's just like that going to be able to finish off WC, and that's going to be them going straight back to the lobby. And Traits, welcome back to CoR, my friend, because that's not the way you wanted to start that.
It's an unforgiving world, isn't it? It really is, but we'll see them back. But yeah, there's a bit of a narrative to that. We're not going to go into that, but GT and WC going at it. We saw them contest them a little bit off the drop the last game, as we said. And actually, speaking of contesting, it looks like K7 are rolling up onto Dig on this southwest side. So let's go straight over there, and they've kind of made themselves, I don't know if they made themselves known actually. It looks like they wanted to get up here. Guavo is making his way up, but actually the other two dig members on the other side of the hill, if they can help him out here, he could really be in trouble. I think Washed already starting to look this way.
Yeah, I know. I don't know whether K7 quite aware of the setup, and clearly not, because Bravo takes a lot of damage there. Taking down to 1 HP. Wizzy is going to find him by pushing over the ridge. Nade in hand, ready to try and get that confirmation. The rest of K7 are a little bit further behind. That Molly's going to be perfect. So's the nade. And that's going to be K7 going down to just 3 strong now. QDex a little bit further back, but Tyro, he wants to get aggressive on this. He knows which team are here, and he, he's realizing that there is a bit of a split going on between these teams. Knows that they've got the numbers advantage here in this situation, and he's going to go straight for it. Wizzy trying to see if he can get up onto there. I don't know if he's just trying to get info or if he's trying to climb up, but the little jump's clearly working for him. He's quite enjoying doing that. And looks like K7 are just going to back off from this, and I'm going to lose one very early on. And actually the shot's going to be raining out back again from Dig. And actually it looks like they might be trying to regroup now on towards this position where the two currently stand. And be in, hope you would imagine, a much better position in this zone. Yeah, the zone is going to hard shift across towards the other side. So Dig, who were in a really nice position on that free compound over the other side of the road, now having to try and get there. But this time they've got lots of teams around them, K7 being one, and GT as well, just on the high ground. So it's not going to be quite as easy for them to be able to get back.
It's not. I like this from Dig to regroup as soon as the shots were coming in. As soon as they recognise, if K7 are coming, they're coming as a 4. You're not going to be suddenly rolled up by a 2-man. And K7, this is why we see them in the late game, because they could easily have tried to push up there and take the fight, but they know they didn't have really as much information. They knew there was guys across the hill, even though they'd have known they'd at least been going into that fight at 3-3 if they'd played that east side of the hill, but they don't want to risk it just yet. And it's these kind of macro and micro decisions which gets you to the top of the leaderboards, and we're seeing them just rotate out of zone, look for a different position. We saw TSS just pull in, disrupt there, rotate a little bit here, and go again, find a different spot.
Yeah, exactly. That's definitely the way that these teams are going to be thinking about, for sure, as we see K7 trying to see if they can find another spot in towards the zone, realizing TSS took that compound. Instantly they were back out towards the edge, trying to work out where they want to go to, and then I'm sure we'll be seeing them pushing up there. A couple of little compounds they can try and occupy, but GT are going to have the high ground and the positional advantage on them, so something they do need to think about. They don't want to lose it, but actually GT might want to think about regrouping around towards Jamie K and Towney, because they're in not a bad position, to be honest, in this zone, but that split is quite a large split for this sort of zone, especially when you've got the likes of TSS kind of in a position to potentially punish you if you try and regroup.
Yeah, they know TSS are there for sure. We can see Towney kind of scouting between TSS and EXH as well. Take some shots from Jimbo in the back lines there as he... you can't afford really to get caught out here. EXH just down to... No, sorry, they've got quite a big split as well. Across the church of all places as well, the top of the hill. You can get line of sight to help the rest of your team, to help the other duo, but it's not an easy one by any means. But it looks like down in the south is where the action is. Torch, having lost one early, trying to punish Skyline, and it looks like they're going to get caught in between BHE as well, who've heard these vehicles.
Yeah, exactly. Torch in a really nice position here to be able to hold out Skyline, and there we go. Fizz finds a second one. Skylinks gets found. Should be confirmed as well. The shots are raining that way. And can't quite find the confirmed. Actually, K7, they're going to push straight up on towards RMV, or actually, sorry, RMV pushing up on towards K7, and they're going to lose 2 for it. Zebo and Takashi, no chance of revive coming from them. The other two members are going to be able to get away from this situation there in the vehicle. The vehicle to now try and find their way in, and K7, they've picked up a couple of kills down on this side of the zone. That is going to alert these other teams that they are lingering around here, though. GT, Torch kind of hearing the shots, thinking, what, we need to be aware of where K7 currently are. It looks like GT coming over here to try and get involved in the action.
Yeah, now look at that zone, pushing right onto BT, a team needing the points. But again, we're going to see so many teams probably scrapping for positions here. TSS and RMV probably going to be going at it. Dig could cause some issues as well, and Aguita really have a good spot to hold out the south side of this zone, as EXH are actually going to push down into the bowl, into the church, which is going to be dead centre, and going to set themselves up nicely for the rest of the game, you'd feel here.
Yeah, exactly. They're in a really nice position there. Where they currently are. A lot of these teams that are in the zone going to be pretty happy with that. CoR maybe in 2 minds about trying to move, but I don't think they probably will. They know they don't have too many places to actually play in this zone. They're going to think, what, let's just stay here. We're in a happy position. Let's try and catch some teams on the rotate, and that looks like exactly what they're trying to do. Torch, though, they're on the move. They are on the rotate, and Skyline EU Gonna now start popping shots back towards them. I think Torch should be able to get away from this one. Skyline up on the hillside, not able to find any members there. Hacker's gonna rain some shots out with that SKS, but yeah, not finding anyone with it. Kaomi, though, hasn't moved yet, and he's gonna have to try and come in late, and potentially that could be some problems. You've got 3 Skyline members with no one else to focus on apart from you.
No, Bernie found as well. That's Torch, and BHE are filling into this as well. Ollie's got to be careful. He's going to have his work cut out here, getting caught across the road. Fizz looking straight for the res if he can, but BHE are just sending it straight in, and Torch recognise there's another fight here. They've had to pull off the res. Howard's putting some util in as well, trying to protect his teammate here, but this is a risky play because you've got 3 teams essentially all looking different ways.
Oh, Trey, the road. Almost finding Fizz, gets him down very, very low, but doesn't quite manage to find the fatal blow there. But he is going to be very, very low, trying to take the rest of this fight. Howard has pushed right up here as he's trying to see if he can take out the rest of BHE. Ollie just doing his very best to try and hold on to this position. I don't think he can quite hear Zenking.
Minius is in here as well.
Yeah, where has our Minius come from? Howard's going to get found. Ollie's going to get caught around the corner. Fizz is going to find Howard there. And Arminius going to find Ollie, and that's a point going each way. And BHE must be thinking, how many teams are in this compound? Trey's now the only member there up in towards the northern side of that. And potentially maybe a misplay there coming out from CoR. Maybe thinking it was only one team coming in to try and support, and actually ended up putting themselves into a very dangerous position. And it's all kicking off now as BHE continues to do it. Trey's is going to be able to find one. He's going to find Kaomi, who was actually coming in late to this situation. And has posted himself up on the hillside, so I don't think any chance of a revive coming through there, as Torch not in a position to be able to get away from this one. Bernie's going to find Hacker as Skyline get involved in this fight as well. Absolute carnage going on. Hacker low with the nade. He's going to find 2 of FSS, and now that is one of the teams dealt with, but Bernie's getting absolutely dealt with by Traves here as he finds yet another member of Torch.
Yeah, this is absolute carnage. You didn't think it would be this compound where the action would be going on. Meanwhile, on the eastern side, or the southern side coming in, should say K7 driving in, Dig, TSS, GT, Agueta all getting involved. The zones that shifted down this way, CoR just about inside on this side. BT once again in. Mway going to jump ahead of them and look for a better position. We're going to stick with this fight with Fizz for a second. I don't know if BHE are aware that he's here at all, because there's been so much carnage. This, it's not been easy to keep up with a kill feed here at all.
No, it really hasn't. K7 though are going to get finished off, and I saw not coming through from Dig. It looks like they're right out in the blue. I'm not quite sure what's happened with them. Maybe being a little bit being held out by some of these other teams. But yeah, okay, you're not giving the points to the other teams, but you've got to be trying to still pick up some points for yourself. You haven't won it just yet. Styx is going to be found there by Traves. So that's going to be Skyline going out of the lobby as Torch start taking up BHE. But Cliff's going to deal with Fizz, the last remaining member. BHE managed to stay alive in that compound and come out as the victors.
Yeah, GT have just turned their attention towards Pepeyuji, who's the only member on this hill, and Spicy Bra's actually been allowed entry to this zone. He can actually probably look to rotate down into the zone as well here, into the next round, pretty much scot-free. Agueta pushing up to deal with GT here, as they're also preoccupied with Dill and Dubhub, but they are going to find Kaneki from the top of the mountain there. That just leaves Jamiekin all on his own, and yeah, Spicy Bra's off. He doesn't want to get too involved. That nade is lovely. They're going to try and stick the res as quickly as they can. Cannot find the position on him just yet. Pepeyuji leading the charge, pushing up this hill, trying to find him, but there's so many little dips and areas for these players to be hiding in. I've seen the gun, I think.
Yeah, Traves finds another as well. That's going to be one of BHE bleeding out on the cliffside. I think maybe just going to be able to get the res. No, goes down to the play zone. Zen King not realizing just how close that is, and now has to try and move in. Going to grab the meds just before he does so. Clift, OG still holding down in towards this compound, but Traves going to find Zen King as well, and BHE getting taken apart here. Traves found his 5th kill as a solo member, and now he's just going to have to try and hold off against this advance from BHE. The nades, the mollies all being used here, not being able to connect though with any of them. And BHE just trying to do what they possibly can to try and push up here. The thing is, they can just wait on this hillside. There's actually no one up above them on that high ground, so they're not in a bad position actually if they can just hold on. I don't think anyone's really going to have sight lines other than maybe Mway, but I don't think they're going to quite see this. And yeah, BHE just going to have to hold on a little bit, but they have got Traves to deal with.
They do, yeah, and Traves, really levelling this up, taking this to a 2v1. definitely a lot more manageable than a 4v1 that it was earlier. Mway, they're going to be stretching up the hill a little bit. I can't see exactly who took out BT. I assume it's them. We're seeing damage on either side, but it's all on White and Bambex to do some work. 2 kills to their name already. You feel like maybe this game has slipped away from them a little bit with such a good position. And Dubhub, let's keep eyes on them for a second, making their way up the hill with the carry feature coming in clutch. Evo got Mingo on his back, and he's going to get him inside the zone, inside that smoke, away from Aguita's line of sight. And that is a massive play to stay 4 up into this position. And we're going to go straight down south, actually, because Spicy Bra's got the shotty. You love to see it. Can he get any more here?
Going full DBS plays here. He's going to get one low. Let's try and find the other one, but can't quite find it. Marcos going to confirm that one, and did go down in 8th, but did pick up at least 4 kills. That's another 5 points that they've managed to pick up. On the south side, though, it is going to be Trey trying to push up in here and try and find one of PhD. He's going to find one. Doesn't quite manage to find the second one, though. That's going to be OG needing to be revived here. Cliff going to go straight for that one as the zone not quite moving in just yet, so no, don't have to worry too much. But Guita not really in a position to kind of punish that. I think the revive might come through, but BHE got to be a little bit careful. Marcos is trying to get himself an angle. BT fall as well. Oh no, sorry, White's still alive for BT, but the last solo member, as he needs to try and hold off the rest of Dubhub as they try and push him towards this position. But Skokick going to find him with a nade. That's going to be White going down, and Dubhub make themselves into the top 5 and pick themselves up their second. Oh, sorry, no, that's Mway have got themselves 2 kills. It's going to be Dubhub also with 2 kills, so I was still right anyway, as BHE do get found there by Marcos, and we're down to our top 4.
Yeah, just like that. Mway, 4-man. Aguita, 3-man, considering they're on 8 kills, having a very big game. They have so much room to work with here. EXH, you think Dubhub and Mway are all going to have to fight for this position. I like where EXH are playing that. Up on the hillside, they're not worried about their south side just yet, but I think now's the time maybe to turn your attention this way, because you cannot afford to get caught out on this hill now. You have the numbers advantage on Aguita. They are scouting them out a little bit, but all of a sudden, Dubhub are going to find their way down, but it looks like actually they're going to be contesting with Mway on this eastern side here.
Yeah, they certainly are. There we go. Evo's going to find Husky. Mingo's going to be able to find Denzo. That's what he's not going to do. Clanks goes down as well, and it's all going to be down to Berkey, who gets taken out solo. Mingo finding that one as well. Evo and Mingo picking up 1 kill or 2 kills apiece, and Mway just got absolutely folded quicker than, you know, I even realised a fight was going on, to be honest. EXH going to be in a position now, but they couldn't really capitalise on that. They've just got to wait for Dubhub to push in now, because yeah, the fight is over and done with already, and we're down to our top 3 teams, and all of them still looking pretty healthy. You've only got 3 left on Aguita. Obviously, Dig being able to find one of those members, but other than that, every team still with 4 members, and it's going to be down to who can get the best position, who gets a little bit lucky with zone, and who can outplay the other teams.
Yeah, you're right. And Dubhub have actually sent it across this hillside. EXH making their way out a little bit as well. We can see them just made their way out line of sight of EXH. And I like this play indeed. EXH are going to try and move on this. Hearing the nades come out as well, that's going to give them reassurance that you have some room to move into here. And Agueta all of a sudden getting pinned back, having the high ground. Lovely shots onto Skokick. Lucky going to try and get some util out over there. Marcus has only got the sniper as well as Dill. He's got his eyes focused on him. Going to try and quick scope Skokick there if he can. Just hits the rock, unfortunately. That nade could be nice, but no, just misses for the moment.
Yeah, exactly. I think we need to have a little listening to EXH as well, because they're trying to work their way in, see what they can possibly find out in this zone, and we can get insight into what their comms and what they're trying to decide to do. So let's flick on over there and have a little listen to that.
Ja, szerintem is most kell frag még valami. Fel leszel?
Kinyomom. Kettő, no.
Na, geci.
Csönd. Nyugodtan vagy. Nyugodtan vagy, lovas deal. Itt van open. Még egy knock. Itt van mögöttem. Itt van deepben a lancsba. Lancsamban.
Nem utolsó.
Gyönyörű.
Nice.
Utolsó volt. Hány kill?
And there we go.
Nade there to finish off with. Huge harm coming out from EXH, and 3 kill win is not very many, especially for EXH, but they do pick up the win. They do get themselves some decent points in that one, and as a team that kind of didn't really have much of a showing there on day number 1 in week number 2, they are going to be 13 points going up puts them on to 36 points overall, and that should put them in contention for that top 3, which I think they'll be pretty happy with.
Yeah, absolutely. Calm and collected win there. You heard them. You know, we were going crazy. Unfortunately, didn't hear our comms, but yeah, what a nade that was at the end there. Beautiful stuff indeed. And a 3-kill win, not a massive one, but again, they couldn't get much from that position. They pushed up well, timed it well, didn't overaggress on Dubhub, which I thought maybe they would do, but no, they held the position well and almost just forced Dubhub to take that fight, and yeah, just paid off really well. You could see them getting hungry for the knocks there. They knew they hadn't got many points on the board, but a win's a win, and 13 points, as you said, it's going a long way.
Exactly, and we didn't see massive games coming out from any of our top 7 teams.
Yeah.
I think. Not really, not a big showing from any of them, really. A few points being picked up on the board, but yeah, really well played there from EXH to be able to push themselves up, and this should make it really, really close going into the final few games. So we're going to go back over towards Miramar one more time, the last Miramar of the CoR European Showdown. So we'll see you in just a minute for that.
and welcome back to the CoR European Showdown, the grand finals. The final week is kicking off and we're down to our second game already. 3 games left for these teams to get themselves a little wad of cash. Not too much up for grabs, but a lot of pride on the line as well, especially how the leaderboard is looking at the moment. It's all over the place. We've got teams performing there. Agueta having a big game, you know, DubHub, EXH as well, jumping themselves up a little bit. So it's going to keep it really tight in and around, you know, 3rd to 14th.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it's going to be really, really exciting. And as you said, it's going to be so close, that leaderboard. You know, it's all the teams that were sort of towards the bottom actually had a decent performance in that game. They're going to push themselves up, put them in contention there for the prize. And I think probably by the time we get to sort of like next game and the game after, it could be really, really exciting. It all depends on our top few teams and how well they perform in this game. Because, you know, if they perform really well, they could actually widen that gap a little bit and give themselves a bit of a point buffer. But if not, then they are going to have to try and stop other teams from being able to take over their positions and from getting the points instead of them.
Yeah, I believe we are paying top 3 as well. Is that correct?
Yes, it is. Yeah, top 3 of each week, and then first only for overall. So currently, it's still looking like K7 on for that one, unless you know one of these other teams managed to have a massive performance in the last 3 games. But you know, this week still anyone's game really.
It is indeed. Well, let's look forward to you counting the points on your fingers as it gets towards those final 2 games. But without further ado, we're getting into game number 2, our second and final Miramar of CES. No more Miramar. These teams can breathe easy if they're an Erangel team, just like EXH and Dig. Right, sorry, Dig, not EXH. But here we go. Game number 2, a low plane. Let's not say anything about where it's starting. Let's just look and talk about how low it is, because teams in the north, I think we're going to have to highlight, are going to struggle a bit. DubHub and Agueta, bearing in mind they both landed late, both landed at the top, both out early this time.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it's not the best of planes, is it? It's, as you said, very low, and a lot of teams are going to struggle with their normal loot locations. I think anyone obviously on the bottom half of the map going to be perfectly fine with that, and I think we're going to see a few maybe alternate drops coming through. Looks like GT going to be in Los Leones. They have managed to get themselves back there. K7 are actually happy with their spots. And Greta in there, alternate drop in Impala. F2S going to be in Porto. And then, actually, I think most other teams are kind of in the position they normally go in. I think most of the teams do generally tend to go towards the south side of the map. I think every single team has got a south side of the map kind of zone and maybe a north side of the map kind of zone. Or they have an east and a west kind of zone. So, you know, I think most teams are going to be pretty happy with that. But that zone has popped relatively far north compared to where that plane path was, so could be really interesting to see kind of how these how these teams do choose to rotate into that. Most teams are going to be pretty happy, and I think this is a pretty standard zone. Most people are going to be used to this one, but with the fact that there are quite a few teams kind of in and around the edges and the center of the zone as well, it's going to be a little bit tricky for some of these teams to be able to find a location and be able to rotate freely. So I'm sure we'll lose a couple of players on those rotates.
Yeah, Skyline just pulling down the last team to drop here. Find themselves kind of as central as you can. Torch as well. It'd be great to see actually a sort of graveyard mines finish. It's not often we see them. I can't remember the last time I've seen one. It usually seems to go a little bit further north than that, or even La Bendita Bold. You know, I remember seeing you pulling off a few 300-400 meter shots here the other day. Hopefully we'll see the same from some of these teams coming into this game. But yeah, the zone, I'd like to see some teams maybe move early on this, you know, recognising that it is that far north. I mean, the plane was barely touching this zone. You know there's not going to be that many teams north of you. I think Skyline maybe recognising that as well, sending Hacker just that little bit further north here.
Yeah, 100%. You know, it is going to be it's going to be interesting to see how these teams do read this zone and work out kind of where these teams are going to be already, work out where the positions are going to be that they're going to be available to them. You know, I'd like to see, I mean, I'm assuming we'll probably see Agueta go for a wide rotate round towards the coastal side as well. I don't think they're going to necessarily head straight in. K7 as well might do the same, but I feel like they might go round towards the side of La Bandita as well and try and push up towards those compounds. Probably going to go to the compound south of Junkyard. I think I've seen them play that before. Generally quite like that compound. And then, yeah, most of these teams down in the south probably going to be going down on that eastern coast. So could be a little bit of a choke point in that eastern coast if, you know, all these teams do choose to push that way. But yeah, it's more the west that's going to be the problem, really, because there's not too many entry points on that side because of all this unplayable area just to the south of Power Grid. And so you've got you know, you've either got to go for a very wide rotate up to around the top by La Cabrera, or go, you know, you can go slightly south of that by south of Crater Fields. But yeah, most of the other roads are kind of choke points going into that zone, and currently teams are around those choke points. Not saying they'll stay there forever, but they are there for now.
Yeah, let's see how these teams opt to play it. MY and BT I'm looking at especially as well. I wonder how far they really want to wrap here, because this is almost one of the worst places you can be, I feel. You know, you can't really rotate straight through the zone because, you know, Picardo is that bottleneck, although WC are, of course, moving out. Maybe you'd be trying to scout them, but it's never really easy from that position they find themselves in. They're still very split as well, as I think that Benzo's just going to pick up the teammate there to try and get away. But yeah, maybe backfilling into Picardo might not be a bad idea. You're expecting WC, I assume, to move out of here?
Yeah, 100%. I think you know that they like to move early. They like to get out of that city. They don't just sit there, especially when it's this far on the edge of zone. So you can see already Spencer and Macca's going to be rotating. Dynamic's going to be picking up traits there as well to get them rotating as well in that other vehicle. And yeah, they're going to be able to try and find themselves a nice position in this zone. We've got Skyline EU and RMV very close to each other as well, both taking shots at CoR as Hal is trying to rotate on the bike, maybe trying to scout something out. And that's just going to alert both these teams of each other's presence. And, you know, it looks like Skyline U a little bit surrounded here, especially with the fact that Hacker and Skylink's not going to be near this compound to try and assist their team. And the rest of RMV look like they want to get aggressive on this one.
Yeah, I think RMV clearly should have been aware that Skyline would have been here. You could easily have, well, no, I say that you wouldn't easily have spotted them making the long stretch down to their position, as we know they like to go this area normally. They do have to be careful for that split, as Hauer does now have Hacker just south of him. He, of course, hasn't moved early. Going to be calling that rotate out to the rest of CoR to try and get around, as I think RMV, as you mentioned, are going to be preoccupied with Skyline, as we do see them pushing in here. And the rest of Skyline, actually, the two members opting to play out the back. They don't want to stay around too long. They don't want to hang around, especially when you hear those shots and you have no idea who it is, you know, when those kills don't come through.
Yeah, exactly. That's certainly the case. And Hauer thought he'd scouted somewhere that was relatively free, and unfortunately he's going to go down. So this is the second game in a row that CoR have lost the member first off in the lobby, which is not the, again, not the start they would have wanted. Trey's being able to salvage some points in the last game. I'm not quite sure what I've done to the table, but yeah, there we go. Sharky's going to get found there by Linkadox, and just like that, the best here for CoR as Sharky goes down. That's two members gone already. Ollie and Trey's the last two remaining members now. Going to have to see if they can just find somewhere to play in this zone. Now, plenty available to them up and towards the north, but it seemed that the teams just kind of run into each other there as they were trying to rotate. And that's the choke points we're talking about. You know, CoR, although they were kind of in a position where they could kind of play those choke points or push away from them, they actually ended up going into a different one, and it was TSS that were occupying there, and they've been able to pick up a kill for it.
Yeah, good stuff from TSS. A little bit late on the rotate, unfortunately. This is why you see teams rotate so tightly. You can't afford to take it too wide. EXH going to try and punish TSS as they find a little position in a position we saw them play yesterday. Remember, they got the third place from the same spot. Of course, not quite as high the zone this time. It's actually GT and Mway both could do with some points. They're going to be scrapping down on the south side, coming out of Lost the Owners here.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what is going to happen here. There's, yeah, we've got, you know, a few teams kind of getting a little bit close to each other, a few scraps coming through, and Dig, another one that's going to be rotating very close towards BHE here as we hear the sirens. Not the police car currently in game on Destin. Going to be outside the window, but Dig going to be rotating. BHE going to actually choose to just rotate away from them. And both those teams going to be coming in late to this.
They are indeed. BHE going very wide. I don't mind this at all, though, to be honest. You know, we've seen them get caught out on the rotates. You have to be careful, of course, because teams like BT are still in position in Picardo, so you can't really just walk in. And CoR actually now finding the opener onto Q here, going to probably get the confirmation. Yeah, Trace is going to confirm that. And TSS, we can see them swarming. They want to get involved. They know who this is. They know there's two players gone already. They know they have the upper hand and the high ground here. Finding a lovely few shots onto Ollie there as he goes to the door. Is he going to find him? Polly should have punished him there, unfortunately. For him, CoR just get away with that one. But I think they're probably going to look for the crash here, although saying that, Linkadox has continued the wrap, so maybe just going to leave this completely and actually opt to play away. Yeah, I don't think they want to get too involved just yet. Do not want to risk losing another player late game.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think this is, you know, maybe they hadn't have got that initial member lost, early on. They might have thought about crashing it being 4v2, but I think when you're a 3v2 and you're going for a crash where there's a chance that, you know, the opposing team could get that initial knock, as you do crash in towards the compound, you then put yourself at a 2v2 and you're no longer in the upper hand. You're kind of just begging to try and potentially lose that fight. So I don't mind this from TSS. I think rotating around probably the smartest play, and Link has got himself a really nice position that they're clearly happy with, and they thought, no, you know what, we can play there, we can get more points from that position, and that's exactly what they've tried to do.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right here. The rest of the team's now pretty much in. Dig coming in late, coming up towards the power grid hill, and they do have a nice area to work with here. There, you know, lots of high ground to play. Spencer, the closest member there, kind of halfway up the hill, doesn't of course want to get too aggressive on this, and the rest of WC just confined below him. But I don't mind, you know, Dig coming in late here, because you can get off this hill if you need to. Of course, BT obviously lacking vehicles this game, find themselves on foot. They've been running pretty much since this zone popped. Haven't run too far, but they are in zone, and you know, we've seen these zones pull down south, and I'm hoping it is going to be a graveyard. That's what I'm looking for here.
Yeah, I think a graveyard's always fun. You know, La Bandita's always a fun one, and Minas as well. Very rarely do we ever see it go round towards that position, though. So, yeah, it'd be interesting to see if we do manage to get a zone round there. But I feel like it's going to centre around Skyline EU compound. You know, we're so used to seeing it around that position. But no, it is going to go down south. It is going to have graveyard, Minas, and Los La Bandita still left in. So this could be a really interesting zone here. Torch very happy with this one, looting Minas to start off with. They're going to be in a great location for this, and they're going to be pretty familiar with this sort of terrain as well, which is a little bit different. You know, it's not the easiest terrain to kind of work with if you're not quite used to it, if you don't land here very often. So yeah, that might give them the upper hand here going into the late game.
WC and Dynamics clearly have done some scouting here. They're going to be first out in the vehicles, looking to pull up straight into graveyard, and I like this. You know, the assertive plays just to get yourselves a nice little compound, and it is a very good position as well. CoR getting punished in the north once again. That's Tweak popping up, absolute channel legend Tweak, doing some work to CoR. I think they're going to try and stick that res. The rest of EXH nowhere near this. They're backed off already in the vehicles, looking for a better position as Dig backfill into WC, and actually BHE still on the wrap. They're going to come around into the north and could be a bit of a thorn in the side to some of these teams here.
Yeah, exactly. I think, you know, definitely could cause some problems here for some of these teams. And yeah, Tweak finally going to give up on that one, realizing it's kind of a bit of a moot point really, as the rest of his team have already left him. He's now on a solo, and if he gets knocked, he knows that's his game over. So yeah, thinking better of it, he's going to just jump straight back in the vehicle and head away. But he has spotted BHE rotating past as well, and actually thinking, nah, you know what, let's take some shots at them. Tags Natter up a little bit. Trey's going to be the one to find OG though, but maybe Tweak will be able to steal this one away. Doesn't quite get there in time, and Trey's going to be able to take that point. And that's another point that CoR are going to be able to pick up. A little bit of revenge for the last game there, as OG was the member to be able to finish off Traves at the end there. And yeah, CoR do manage to pick up that extra point. Unfortunately, BHE losing another member early on here, down to 3. And Tweak now going to maybe try and get into position to take shots at the other members of BHE as they rotate. But I'm not quite sure he's going to quite be able to find that one.
Zenking's heard him rotate as well. They've seen the vehicle, clearly aware that this is at least just one member on his own here. But yeah, BHE, been the story of their event, unfortunately, just seemed to get caught, get unlucky with these rotates. And it does show the level of competition. You know, you think console compared to PC, you have that space to rotate. That's never really been the case, as it's never easy to rotate. These teams will pick you off those vehicles, pick you off the cars. And yeah, BHE a little bit unfortunate there, and they're just going to have to confine themselves to this edge of San Martin. As Dig gone for a bit of an audacious split. If we've seen anything, it's going to end back up on Dig, but we'll wait and see what happens. I think we do have a bit of unplayable area just north of Torch's position, no. Just north of the mine storm.
I think Gazoo scouted this and he thinks it's free. Jumps in the vehicle, and I think he just spotted Shane at the right moment there, as he is going to back away from it. But I think he'd been scouting that out for a while, you know, realizing there was no movement in there, going, no, it's free, boys, it's free. Everyone jumps in their vehicle ready to kind of regroup, and then realizes, actually, no, there is a team in there. Let's just go back to where we were. And that was a real lucky move there for Dig there, because I feel like if they'd have crashed on, I think Gazoo would have been lost, because he was way ahead of the rest of the team. And Skyline, having 2 members up, likely they would have been able to take him out there.
Yeah, he's going to regroup the rest of Dig just back in their position. CoR making their way around the north and could get a nice little area in the hillside, but you do have some super aggressive teams, TSS, Torch and Aguita, going to be keeping an eye on anyone making their wrap around here. Of course, TSS losing 1. Let's see where the zone goes, and it is going to pull back over to this western side, so EXH Actually doing not too bad on this rotate. Can make themselves up onto this hillside, maybe even looking to take the compound. And as we say, Dig and WC teams being gifted by this a little bit. The rotate's really paying off here for them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, WC going there nice and early. They've got themselves a good position here to try and fight out of. Obviously not necessarily the most ideal position. I think that, you know, Graveyard has got its pros and cons for sure. But yeah, they'll be pretty happy with the fact they've got themselves a central location. They can kind of have a look at over the other side of the road and see if anyone's going to be pushing into their location. And I think, yeah, hopefully they'll be able to capitalise on that and be able to pick up a few kills from that, if nothing else. Especially after the last game when they, you know, really did struggle to get some points.
Yeah, other teams now making their way in. GT going to be one to try and regroup. I think they're looking to play down as a 4-man, but they've got to be careful because Skokic and Mingo are making themselves known. BHE are going to be fighting up in the north here, was this? Yes, this is miles up as they find Linker on rotate as well. Polly has to be careful. He does find Zen King outnumbered though, as Jimbo is sending it away, looking for a position in the zone, and he has to be really careful here because he's either going to be running into Skyline or a 4-strong RMV. Yeah,
exactly. You know, definitely something you need to be careful of, especially when you're trying to split up as a team. So yeah, Jimbo choosing to wait for a little bit as we go down towards the south. And it looks like K7 going to be able to catch 2 of Dubhub as they're a little bit late to rotate out of their compound here. And Evo does get knocked. Should be able to get revived here. I don't think any angles on the side of K7 have quite come through. QDex just looking out for it, but the problem is Dubhub now going to have to be a little bit careful because K7, they are going to camp these kills out as long as they possibly can and try and make sure they secure those. Dubhub jumping straight in that buggy though, going to try and see if they can go for the rotate, but it's going to have to be a good rotate and they got to try and avoid all of these shots. A couple of tags do land. Dubhub going to continue to rotate away though, but K7, they're not giving up on this. They're going to keep looking this way. Quavo's going to jump in the vehicle, try and get himself into a safe location, but little do they know that the other 2 members of Dubhub are already in La Bandita and might be able to catch them out. But I think K7 are going to rotate out of sight lines and around towards the high ground here because they go in towards GT instead.
Yeah, that's smart because you don't always want to be just running through this bowl. So that aimbot and QDex are making their way in, and Mingo and Skokic taking shots down towards them a little bit here. But yeah, Dylan that miles outside the zone though and have their work to do. They kind of almost need to send it straight back in. But you know, that K7 push came out from aimbot having the angle and really punishing them. But he's now going to get found as Mingo finding him. Surely going to get the flush if he's quick. And the rest of the boys kind of playing all outside the bowl actually. So no one can really get over here quickly. Quivov the closest here. He's going to have a little bit of line of sight down into here. But it's not easy at all, especially as now Walshy, we saw him play a little bit rogue yesterday, is running up, making himself known here, trying seeing if he can find some points, and QDex is going to punish this push as it comes in. There goes Dill as well, just sends him flying. Now, 1 member of Dubhub still alive. Sorry, no, Mingo and Skokic back on their feet, so 2 alive now.
Yeah, exactly. Dubhub being able to stay too strong, unfortunately losing those 2 members, but he did manage to pick up 1 of K7, and now K7 very, very split all along this hillside. QDex very low, needs to try and see if he can get to Evo, maybe try and grab himself some extra meds and everything. But it does look like he's managed to get himself 5 first aids now as he's continuing to run in. As soon as the zone hits, he's going to do quite a bit of damage as well. Phase 4 always does hit that little bit harder. Jamie K though, he hits even harder than that as he finds Tyro, and that's going to be a nice knock coming through there for GT. Unfortunately, K7 down to just 2 members now. I don't think they're going to be able to quite get over towards Tyro to be able to get that res, and I don't think they're going to want to risk that run either. Although saying that, it looks like GT have backed off from this, so there is a chance they could get it, but I think that's a very risky play.
Yeah, especially as they know that's another team around them. Dubhub, of course, looking this way. Mway had eyes on Tyro, saying that QDex is in the vehicle, it's smoking, but he's going to try and stick this by the looks of things. He's trying to make his way over to that rock, staying as high on this hill as he can, try and stay out of line of sight. A few shots coming his way as we can see, but Mway actually getting peppered in return, so it's going to give him a bit of time, but just at the death, he's found that car's going to explode, and I think surely that's going to do enough damage, and no way Quav gets over there in time now. Or saying that he's going to go and try and send it as quickly as he can, but I think he's got a death wish here. Surely he's not going to be found. Surely he is going to be found.
Yeah, there's no way he's going to be able to get over there. Tyro halfway bled out. QDex as well on second bleed. I don't think he's got time to even get over towards his rock, let alone run there when you're already getting shot at from GT down in that compound. Quavo, I think, kind of... No, he's still going to go for it. He's still going to keep going. And actually, elsewhere in the kill feed, CoR taking out some of Skyline, and they're only too strong at the moment as well. Sticks goes down as well. That's F2S getting involved, and just like that, Skyline EU. Sorry, no, K7 get annihilated. Kaneki going to find Quavoff. But I think, yeah, Skyline are going to go down as well as Zen King gets involved in that. Dig going to finish up RMV as well. So many teams getting found here at almost the same time, and Dig picking up themselves a couple of kills here. 3 kills on the board. They continue to extend their lead out on the rest of the competition.
Yeah, I'm just going straight into Graveyard. We'll talk about Dig in a second, but BHE are just sitting so quietly in the actual Graveyard here. A horrible place to play. You know, they should put a TDM in here. It's an awfully horrific place to play. Zenking making his way in as well. WC trying to hold them out. They know the crash is in here, but the rest of the BHE boys have been so quiet. But, you know, while this is happening, all these other teams around them have been capitalising on the positions. Dubhub finally piping up from the bowl. Going to find Townie at range. I don't think that res is possible as he's hidden behind the Gotti there, but Mway getting gifted in the middle of the zone, and Jimbo's actually sitting very quietly in there. But that nade was massive from Mingo. Gets the flush and gets Jamiekin down as well, and that's left the rest of GT so disconnected. Kaneki and then Walshy all the way in the south does a load of damage. 99, no, I did say 99, but definitely did not do 99 damage. A Skok kick there, but that one's going to do the job. Finds him with the Orm, and we love an Orm in play.
Yeah, we certainly do. We love to see an Orm coming out and ringing across the battlegrounds here. Just Dubhub trying to get their res up on towards their fallen teammate here as Walshy. Oh, Kaneki looking to do the same anyway on towards Jamie K. So it should still be a 3v2 situation here. Skokik trying to hit that first aid off as Walshy seems to be moving now. He wants to try and get aggressive on this. Needs to try and get that line of sight as he does start leaving his compound. Going to start wrapping around, but Mingo looks like he's kind of aware of this move potentially, and he's going to try and push himself up. I'm not quite sure what happened with F2S as Komi gets taken out by his own teammate and flushed as well. So maybe a disconnect going through there, not wanting to give away the points. But Mingo actually turns at the wrong moment here. Going on this, and Walshy, if he'd have kept pushing, he might have been able to get the sights on towards him. But he's going to just keep pushing over towards this ridge line, taking it very slowly. And now I think Dubhub got absolutely no idea that Walshy is here. Should pipe up in just a second. Does spot Mingo, but Skokik was closer. Skokik can be able to find Walshy, and just like that, it's going to be a 2v2 situation going on over here. But F2S, they want to get involved as well as they come crashing over towards this bowl.
Yeah, I like this from F2S. Clearly know that CoR were pushing as well. CoR, of course, now out the lobby. Torch and Agueta kind of clean them up. BHE just finding themselves alive, and I think actually F2S, do they have? Yeah, they've seen the smokes. They know there's a fight over there. Going to spray down onto Mingo. Nothing really connecting there, but now GT have kind of regrouped a little bit back. 2 or 3 strong. Walshy pushing around, showing you why you don't attack a team with a 4x on when you're pushing a hill. There goes Clift. He does go down the 11th, still miles off placement. Dig and EXH could be the next team to scrap, and this is right over this side, and it looks like BT want to get involved, and it's 2 for 1 at the moment. EXH with the numbers. Benz has so much work to do. They're playing outside a zone, and Donnie is just waiting for this. He's just trying, biding his time, taking some blue, because he knows the rest of his team can support him from the south side here.
Yeah, exactly. And Dig just going to have to try and wrap away from this one as Wash pushes over, does spot WC, but he's getting shot in the back by Torch, actually. Wizzy does get confirmed there, but there's going to be 2 still up for Dig. But no, make that 1 as White fighting Spicy Bra, and Wash needs to try and be aggressive here, but he's literally stuck between a rock and a hard place. Getting tagged by BT, he's getting tagged by Torch as well. Does manage to get a tag on towards Dynamics, I think might take him out to zone, but yeah, doesn't unfortunately get that extra point. Doesn't make the placements either, so that's just going to be 3 points on the side of Dig for this game. And it does give a little bit of an opening to some of these teams that are further down. Jimbo being one of them, and he finds an opening knock. He's going to confirm that kill as well, but as a solo, how much more can he actually get from this game realistically, as now so many teams around him all know where he is. He's going to get the utility out, try and see if he can find one of Aguita, but no, nothing landing, and has to bunker straight back down in that shack.
WC and Torch going to be the fight on the north now. 2v2. Torch biding their time to push around. A few kills on the board. No kills on the board for them just yet. WC 5 to their name. Have the numbers to work with, and Mway getting positioned nicely. You know, they could do with the points here, down to 3 man, of course, losing one really early, but Jimbo's piping up. He's going to find Lizard straight away, take him really low. Lucky and Marco's going to try and come around as quickly as they can. Surely that kill could even get stolen away, and actually BT are going to be cresting this ridge just above Aguita. WC are getting involved, Torture looking this way, and Jimbo just has to confine himself now because there are teams everywhere, and it is a bit like a scrim here. Just absolute players all over the place. You can't predict anything right now.
No, you certainly can't. And actually, once again, it's all these teams that are further down the leaderboard that are benefiting from this one. BT find Lucky, but Macca's instantly there with the return on towards him. Komi finds Macca's as well as Torch trying to do what they possibly can. There's 2 members left up, but they are in a really bad position right now as everyone with sightlines on them just raining shots out. BT and a couple of nice tags on towards Merc as he's trying to see if he can dodge, dive, dance with the tree. He's going to continue to move in on those smokes, but yeah, surely it's got to be Torch just pretty much living as long as they possibly can here, maybe trying to pick up an extra couple of kills. But Spencer spots Merc as he pushes out that smoke. Kaimi gets taken down very low as well. One more tag would do it. And I think actually maybe this molly might just do it. No, he's going to secure the kill on towards Merc with that one. Make sure he gets the point, but actually it's going to be Donny that finds Spencer. Clank's going to steal Merc away as well. So that's Milky Way picking up that point, and now we're into placement. So Komi at least surviving that long, but I don't know how much longer he's going to have to survive because there's not a lot to play in front of him. Pretty much he's got this rock, and that is it. BT though in the back lines are going to finish off Aquita, and we're down to our top 7 teams.
BT having a slow day yesterday, of course, coming in fresh, a week behind these teams, but now they're piping up. And look who's left in this lobby: Milky Way, GT, Dubhub, F2S and BT. F2S have gone, I think. Are they still in there? No, they are, excuse me, they are alive, just sat on top of each other a little bit with Kaneki to deal with as well. But all these teams needing the points, this could really shape the leaderboard up. Kaneki, is he lagged out? No, he's just listening for cues by the sounds of it. Got the 3x on, has to be careful. He's trying to peek Anthology around the side, switches to the other side, but no, Anthology is going to find him another point going their way. And now we're getting into the placement points. Now it starts to tick over. Now you start to pick up a few more points for your team if you can survive a bit longer.
Yeah, I mean, and other than TSS, no team in our top 7 are even up right now. As everyone just trying to vie for as many points. Dubhub EU going to be the team that's slightly higher than the others, sitting in 8th. So, you know, they're the ones that will be wanting to try and benefit from this and push themselves up here. And they might be able to get some placement points or some decent points from this and be able to get themselves a nice placement. But the problem is only 3 kills on the board. It's only a 5-point game currently, and that's not going to be enough to push themselves into that top 3 just yet. They're 1 point off. Obviously, it depends on how these other teams did as well. But yeah, Dubhub still with a lot to do, and they can play on the edge of this compound. But the problem is F2S, they can't, and they're going to have to push into this location. And F2S have currently got the numbers advantage.
They do, but this is where these zones get really spicy because, you know, there's not much time. 40 seconds on the clock, 30 seconds now before they have to move. So it's as much about planning your next zone as it is about taking the fight. You know, so many levels of detail come into this. F2S look like they're going to try and play for the compound. Smart play. You know, they have that little hillside you could probably get to, but, you know, with Dubhub there, it's a stupid idea, and it looks like Skokik already readying the shotty in hand, expecting the play into here. He's going to shoot straight through, finds one. A lot of damage done, and he's doing so much work there. Mingo just going to hold out. Kaimi does go down in the back lines as well, and F2S now just confined to this wall. I think this res can come in. They're going to try and stick it. The smokes are up. The flash spot on, but it's not going to matter unless that push is coming out. Ontology just trying to hold, just making sure no one else is coming around the side. They have a bit of time because the other team's very much preoccupied. BT and Mway will go over to that in a second, but this is where the action is right now. Mingo, is he going to spot another one? Finds him on the knock there. Arminius down. Gregor hasn't got the med off just yet. I think Arminius is going to get stolen away unless he can find this quickly, and it is going to be BT. It's going to be White finding that one, and Gugui found as well. It's all on Anthology now, gets the flash in, but he's got to move on this as quickly as he can.
Yeah, exactly. And Skokik looks like he wants to try and get this kill if he possibly can. Nade, though, being primed here. Straight in the window. Skokik, though, has been able to push back far enough, and Anthology trying to do what he possibly can, but they're getting shot at from across the zone now. Skokik not quite being able to get out of that window there. So it starts taking a bit of damage, and he's definitely going to bleed out now. As we do see him slowly fall, and 10 kills on the side of BT as they finish off Berkey. And BT having a huge game here to put themselves back into contention here. And Dubhub still trying to dance around here with F2S. See if they can maybe get themselves an extra placement point and that extra kill.
Yeah, Benzo actually trying to snipe up the hill. Doesn't have obviously anything on the M4, but BT just have the time to work with because this other fight has been going on. They've been allowed to really focus on this. They've been allowed to play their hillside. Skokik finds Anthology, and now all of a sudden they probably know they have some time. They don't have the time to work with. They need to push in, and already we're seeing White and that pull off this hill a little bit. Sorry, just trying to spot the angle. There was a nade coming in actually onto one of Dubhub, so it's going to slow them down, but Sonny is found there. That's Benzo from the window, holding off so nicely. Clanks has to be careful as well from the top here. Has so much work to do. Needs to try and maybe rain some util down. Does have nothing to work with, just one Molly to his name though.
Yeah, exactly. You've got White just holding the high ground here, just waiting for the peak to come through from Clanks. They know exactly where that knock was coming from. Wants to make sure the Clanks can't get into position to be able to confirm this one. But the problem is BT aren't really pushing to try and get this revive. Droideka needs to try and push around. If he can go for the revive, he can leave White to just keep eyes up on towards the top of that building there, making sure the Clanks can't make a play. But it doesn't matter because Clanks is looking the other way. You're going to find Donny as he jumps out of the compound. And Dubhub using this as a really good opportunity to try and get themselves a good position in this zone as they push across. This could be a second place for Dubhub at least, and potentially even clean up this fight and take first. Obviously coming second in the last game. Big game from them. And this could be a second one as well.
Yeah, Clanks is looking for that flush, but he's gone the wrong way completely. He's going to go flash himself. Just made himself back inside the building here, just trying to look for that flush, recognising that they were on the back, but they're going to get that med off in time. But he's going to have to push back through the blue to get out. He's really confined himself here. Takes just as much damage here, 40 seconds. But as soon as he pops out, Trike is around the corner. The flush going to be instantaneous as well. Donny still hasn't been res there as well, as it's all on Benzo now. And you mentioned Dubhub. We'll go over to them in a second, but they are setting themselves up really nicely for this. Mingo's got himself into a nice little position. Has eyes on White as well. White has no idea that he's round here.
Yeah, exactly. This could be a little bit detrimental here to BT if Mingo can go for this knock, but needs to do it at the right time here. I think White spotted Mingo, but yeah, White's going to hit the deck, and without getting the knock there, I think maybe just revealing Dubhub's position in this one is going to make BT start to get a little bit more proactive here. Skokick, he's also got eyes up towards there, so I think you've pretty much got to just give BT, you know, you've kind of just got to sacrifice White a little bit, just leave him up on that hillside, allow the rest of your team to get into a better position. Because, yeah, the zone is going to centre up. It's going to go to the middle of the zone. And there we go. Benzo getting found. That's BT finding out another kill. 12 kills now. This is a huge game coming out from BT, who are bottom of the table coming into this game, by the way. And if they manage to get the win with 14 kills, that's going to put them on 31 points, which is almost top half. Well, it probably is top half. But Skokick, he's got something to say about it as he finds White. And that's the player up on the hillside that has been dealt with. And now it's just down to these... this final fight here, really. Skokick has to leave his little ridge though with his zone pushes right towards his back, and Tricade's going to punish that. Skokick gets found, and Mingo now as the last remaining member here to try and see if he can find the rest of the BT players. White's going to try and get rezzed here as well. Maybe just to try and deny the point away from Dubhub and give them 4 up. Unfortunately, Dubhub would have really liked that point, but not going to be able to get it as BT trying to get aggressive, and there we go. Donny finds the final kill. 14 kill win here. It's a huge play.
Yeah, 24 points, massive, as you mentioned, right down the bottom of the leaderboard. We can see where they were before that, absolutely miles down there, coming in with only 7 points after the 5 games so far. But yeah, really, really good stuff by them. That's going to jump them up certainly into sort of 11th. And yeah, really, really good stuff indeed. Maybe a little bit lower, sorry. No, excuse me, no, they
higher.
should be. Yeah,
no,
yeah.
It puts them up about 7th.
Into 7th, yeah.
Sort of top 8 maybe, might be just in 9th because obviously some of these other teams did pick up the points, but they put themselves well in contention for being able to even take, you know, first place. Maybe a little bit of a stretch. They need to have a couple of really big games in the final ones, but they should put themselves in the chance of getting top 3. And as a team that sort of came in this, especially coming into today being right at the very bottom, I think they'll take anything they can get at this moment in time.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And we saw there, of course, before that previous game, Dig still, you know, actually extended their lead 26 points above with only 2 games to go. You think, you know, they should have it in the bag unless we see them really dip out, and you wonder if they are the sort of team that someone might look to cause an upset, maybe crash. We'll have to wait and see. Of course, BT really doing well, coming in, of course, late to the event now, unfortunately missing out on the super finals, but you know, really good plays by them. So we'll take a short break and we're going straight over to our final 2 Erangels in just a few minutes. Don't go anywhere. And welcome back to the CoR European Showdown. 2 games to go and it's hotting up already. The leaderboard is really starting to take shape, although we're seeing teams all over the place very close, and it is going to be an exciting couple of games to finish this off. I think we're going to see a new winner, but let's wait and see, because 26 points is catchable. We're just waiting to see if Dig have what it takes. Of course, their Miramars yesterday were where they didn't pick up as many points, saying that they still picked up a load of points from there. So, saying that it is their weaker map is not really doing them justice. But, back on Erangel, where they got their 2 wins to start the day off, can they replicate it today?
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be interesting to see if they can manage to carry it off for a second day. It's not going to be... it's not going to be easy for them. I think a lot of teams are hungry for this as well. Like, you can just see from the way that they've been playing, no team thinks they're out of this yet. And, it's going to be... it's going to be interesting to see if these lower teams are able to really close the gap. The problem is the teams that are actually in contention for trying to take Dig off the top spot are the ones that aren't getting the points. It's the teams below them that are getting the points. So they keep leapfrogging each other, but that's just allowing Dig to keep that lead. They're currently on 26 points going into that game, out in front. And CSS, they got a few points, maybe closed the gap slightly. EXH didn't do a lot in that game. CoR, not a lot in that game. Skyline, not a lot in that game. So there's a lot of teams that are below them. And all of a sudden you go, okay, right, yeah, DubHub, they had a good game. You've got BT, they had a good game. But they're still not catching up with the rest of the pack, even though they've obviously, been able to get some decent points on the board.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right here. Looking at the plane coming out, we're seeing, of course, Agueta not taking military-based Skyline. Could be heading down for Skull, and that's WC floating over in Agueta. Yeah, going to go for that North Ros split by the looks of things, just seeing if we've got any other adapted drops. Of course, no action in Prim, with CoR taking Severny and RMV doing Ruins Watertown split as per Torch. Going to go for their alternate at the top of Stauber. Got to be careful because got a couple of lag outs. No, just all of DubHub just want to take it really late and maybe stretch for Kameshki here.
Yeah, exactly.
They got the follow
they're
feature
going
just absolutely uniform.
Yeah, they're just going for it up there. I don't think they've even got the follow feature on. Maybe they do. But yeah, they're all just going over towards Kameshki. Interesting drop for them. Don't think I've seen them go to Kameshki way before. Torch obviously going to be going around their Stauber alternate drop as they can't reach Melter Power. But there's a couple of teams lingering around towards this coastline as well. You got BT and GT, both of which are having decent games in that last game. We'll have to wait and see for the points to update before we can actually see what that's done to the total. But yeah, they're both sort of putting themselves up in contention once again, as both teams, not really having the best of days going into this one. Day 1 was pretty much a write-off for both of those teams, but both of them having decent days in day number 2.
Yeah, this is an interesting one from GT. Taking the 4 stack as well, it does not give you much to play at all. Townie's gone across the road as well, caught between BT. They've picked the vehicles off. Of course, if you don't really have the drop worked out, unfortunately, that plane, we've all had it. There's that 1 or 2 kind of plane path you get where, you can have your first drop, you can have your alternate drop, but sometimes you just can't reach any of them. I feel like maybe this is just one of those here. It doesn't really look like it's to try and cause an upset, especially when you look at the teams Mway and BT, of course, getting some points on the board in the previous game, but not really enough to push themselves up into the money just yet. So I don't think this is a tactical one. It's just unfortunately having to play what they can find here without risking too much.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, now the zone, right? We've seen this zone a few times recently, and I'm pretty sure every time that it goes here, it looks like, oh, CoR have got a good zone. But I'm pretty sure every single time they lose a player early, or the hard shifts away, or something like that. So I'm not quite sure who's going to benefit from this zone at all. I think most of these teams are going to predict it's going to go north, though. So that's kind of a little bit better than, obviously, that 50-50 zone where we do sometimes see it go split across this water, the river running through the middle of the map. So I think, most teams are going to be happy with this being a north zone. I know most teams have got to get across the water to the north. But I think once they're sort of there, at least they know they probably won't have to shift down towards the south. Of course, it can still happen. We've seen crazier things, but yeah, the fact that it kind of has detailed exactly where it's gonna go, or most likely to go, I think most teams will be pretty happy with that. And I think we'll see quite a few teams, especially near the water, try and get across early, which should hopefully allow some of these other teams to be able to rotate across as well, as the bridges will then be free.
Speaking of CoR, this is that position where you mentioned we have seen a few zones go this way. Of course, one opting to end with Dig getting the win right over east of George. Another ending further north, kind of on the sort of shooting range hill there. Remember in the qualifiers, that was a QDex Jimbo finish 1v1 that was actually a very spicy ending. I think, with CoR's positioning here, you have to try and find a position really early. They did pull down to the 3-stack, the God building just south of shooting range in the previous games. It just did seem to shift away from there, and previous to that, I think in that game they were stuck actually in shooting range, which isn't ideal. You can say, yes, they have a good, they have the zone, their centre here, they have no other team around them, they've got choice of compound, but so many of the areas in here really aren't that great to play, and I think that's why teams, we don't see teams drop on the north, because you look around, there's pretty much one compound to loot. Saverney and shooting range is the only real compound on this north side, of course North George as well, but Zaki, you don't often see teams in there. Same with sort of Stauber as well. It's these places that aren't really occupied. I'd like actually to see maybe a new compound in the north, maybe replace shooting range, flatten it out a bit, potentially put another compound in there, big city potentially, but it's one of those where you can easily get third party, and we saw that yesterday, didn't we? Teams pushing in. Of course, the zone did shift away really hard, but teams were just literally on top of each other, running for the zone, trying to run and escape the blue. And I just hope CoR are aware of this and maybe get a nicer shift this time.
Yeah, exactly. And, as you said, there's not too much loot above towards the north, which is why you generally don't get too many teams over there. And I kind of think the very north of this map, very similar to the mini base on the south side of the map. It's all about, if you loot there and you get the zone, perfect. If you don't, then you've got to try and rotate past teams. Bridge camps have become a little bit of an issue sometimes. Of course, there are more options to get across on towards the north than there is the south. So that's kind of why it's a bit more of a choke point down south. But yeah, there's definitely still that little bit of a worry if you don't get the zone up in towards the north and you have to go all the way down towards the south. Same here, K7, they're going to be coming into this very late, being on the military zone, and not only have they got across the bridges towards Millie Base, which actually BT look like they're kind of setting themselves up for a little bit as a bit of a bridge camp. I don't know if that's intentional, just because, obviously we know they did loot there. They are kind of moving, maybe looking for vehicles. I don't think kind of got anything, but Trike's trying to see if he can maybe get to this Dacia just down the road. But the problem is they have set themselves up in a position where they could maybe punish K7 here if they really wanted to. And the way K7's games have been going, they have been getting a little bit unlucky, and there's a chance that this could happen again.
Yeah, you do want to see this, but K7 scout this very well. BT on foot.
Oh, but look at the bridge. Sorry, just to cut you off. Yasnaya Bridge. 3 teams currently around there. You've got Aguita, Mway, and WC now trying to get across as well. Traits has been able to get... Well, he tried to get across. Unfortunately, having to just send the vehicle straight in there. Pepe Yuji trying to look out for him, but you've got Clanks already in the compound. In Petrol Station, Berkey, Benzo, and Husky kind of lining themselves up here, but Macca's is going to open up towards Berkey, finds the initial knock there, going to get the confirmation as well, and that's Mway going down one, and Aguita are thinking, hang on, that shots are at us, but that's not us going down, and that's going to alert them the fact that Mway around here as well. Lucky trying to take the shots down towards some of Milky Way, see if they can maybe get a knock, but no, Clanks just thinking, you know what, we need to get out of here. We're in a bad situation now. But they're going to jump straight in the vehicles and try and get out.
I want to go straight over to this fight as well, because we're seeing a bridge gap. F2S thinking better of it here, because BHE actually set up quite nicely to deal with this, finding one, and F2S, this bridge is, of course, really long. They are going to get away from this. 3 members keep themselves just about alive here, and F2S going to have to rethink this. But yes, excuse me, we'll go straight back over to this now as we're seeing a couple of action. Pepe Uji is finally popping up as Traits, has made it across, but not for long. He's going to get found immediately after swimming all that way.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate. We to just continue to camp up on towards this situation. WC going to crash straight towards Petrol Station and now try and do exactly the same as what Aguita just did to them. Hold them out towards the water and see if they can flush them out here. Macca's on the off angle with that K9 as well. Going to see if he can maybe find a knock as he tries to reposition down towards the water's edge here. As the rest of WC just going to hold down the Petrol Station, and Aguita, they've still got 4 up, but I'm only seeing 2 players here. The other 2, Marcos is right up in the north. Yeah. Not quite sure what's going on there. Lizard, completely over the other side of the water, could actually get quite a lot of information here on the players of WC. Looking feedback towards the rest of his team, but Marcos is really trying to get over here as quickly as he can. You can see him sending it, but I think it's going to be too late as the fight's already breaking out.
Yeah, I'm just going back over to this western side, because actually BHE have played this so smart. They've recognised that F2S have had to push for a different bridge, and they've actually surrounded them really nicely, got them isolated in this compound, and they're actually maybe thinking about regrouping now. Don't want to get too involved, recognising F2S have the hard cover to work with here. Just going to reposition themselves a little bit, see if they can maybe do some vehicle damage. But yeah, F2S really confined now because Dig were taking shots as well, and it's just left that western bridge now open for K7 to time this perfectly to come across. And with this, I'm getting deja vu already. EXH, TSS, Dig, K7 coming on this western side. This feels like yesterday's game.
Yeah, it really does. You know, K7 were able to wrap themselves right the way up on towards the left-hand side, up on towards this lovely hillside. You had Dig down in the south, who managed to take in, I think it was BHE's positioning, just the shack just to the south of them. EXH were in the same spot as well, so they're pretty happy. This time they've got 4 strong as well. I noticed that Chet Bence isn't playing for them today, so maybe that's why they've got 4 up. But yeah, you know, it is very, very similar. Obviously, it depends on where this next shift goes, will determine whether it will play out a similar way, because, you know, it definitely does look like it could be a repeat if it does tend to go towards the same area. But I'm sure other teams will have learned from their mistakes and take those different rotates, and we could see a different game, but played out with the teams starting from similar positions.
Let's see it. It is going to shift straight down, keeping pretty much everything south inside. While this is, while teams are thinking about how they go, let's see if we can get the leaderboard quickly updated while we have a bit of a lull. Yeah, we do there. Dig 67 points, so 26 points. They've kept that gap with DubHub jumping up into second place from that TSS joint on 41 points, and CodeRed just 1 point behind now. And EXH, in a good position for this game as well. But TSS and EXH could be the teams to watch here, because they could certainly jump up and find some points. And BHE, 36 points. They're only 5 points off the second place here. That's easily doable how they're playing today.
Yeah, especially the fact they've just taken one of F2S out as well, so
yeah.
They're already sitting on a point. So that's another kill point that they've been able to pick up, and they're looking much better for this now, as they do continue to just hold down this position. OG still a little bit disconnected, so we'll want to maybe regroup, as K7 are going for a wide rotate here as well, going to try and get themselves in towards the very edge position here. And this could be an absolutely mental game, because there is still a chance this goes south. So despite what I was saying at the beginning, where it's like, oh, all the teams are going to be pretty happy, it looks like it's going to go towards the north, that shift is pretty much the only shift that now starts putting doubt in everyone's minds. There is a chance that it can center up down towards the south side, maybe even center up on Bermuda, and then it's going to shift away from the water, and again, chance that it goes south. So I think we probably should still see it go towards the north, but there is kind of that little bit of doubt creeping in my mind that we might see an absolutely ridiculous zone coming through.
Yeah, if you're unaware, Bermuda does cause a bit of a problem because, as you are aware, Zone 4 needs to shift. It needs to have the centre inland as well, so it can come into play at some point. We'll have to wait and see, but let's just highlight Aguita, the 2-1-1, the most audacious split I've seen. Just watching Marco down in the trench here. I think he's maybe having some IRL issues here. He's been very quiet so far, just looking around, being very quiet in this tunnel. Hasn't had much to say at all. But DubHub, Agueta, WC and GT have only just made it in, and not even in yet. Jamie still making his way in, and Townie, Miles, if they've been running, I think, this whole time looking for vehicles, are going to sort of backfill into Roz. And, these teams coming in this late in this side is probably going to be one of those where you don't want to commit across to the north. So we are probably going to see 4 or 5 teams on this south side.
Yeah, 100%. It is getting very, very busy down on towards the south, as teams now think, you know what, there's no point in trying to push across just now. If it goes north, we're probably going to be struggling anyway. BHE, though, they are also struggling, as Nata and Cliff both getting knocked here, as K7 pushing up onto their position, almost taking out a couple of them. There's the 2 members of K7 taken down very, very low, but not going to be enough to be able to get any knocks, and Zen King is going to get out of that situation. F2S taking some shots down towards him, but it's actually going to be Torch as well up in the north that are going to lose a member. Merc going to get knocked there, but it's actually Skylinks from range, and RMV, they recognise that this is right next to them, and they're going to push out to try and see if they can find that kill. The rest of Torch, a little bit disconnected down in the compound. I don't think they're going to want to be pushing out of there anytime soon, unless they are going for a vehicle. I think they are. Fizz is jumping straight in the vehicle to try and get the res, and this could be a real problem here for Torch, as RMV are so close to this situation.
Yeah, if anything, this is just going to alert the RMV members where this knock is, and they are hunting this. They know this car is looking for the res, and they're just following it around. Torch taking it Fizz taking it very wide here, and if anything, Merc will probably just hear that there's some players on him. Fizz just rolling out the vehicle here, And he's still getting shot by Skyline, actually, by the looks of things. There we go. The zone is going to push north. So, yeah, we are going to guarantee that this is going to stay north. So we're going to keep eyes on our south teams especially. But still, teams in the north need to make their way in. Aguita, CoR, who've been, of course, not really had much luck with these two zones, unfortunately, at all. Gosh, does find Fizz on the cross there. Still hasn't spotted Merc. Like, I wonder if... No, he does bleed out there. Skylink's going to get that one. And yeah, Torch all of a sudden confined to 2, but they're in the zone and they've got that next shift to work with. This is the beauty of being in the position like RMV's, TSS probably with this position as well. You know it's shifting north, so you don't have to worry about that next zone. You can focus on the fights for a second because you know you're going to be in still.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. You know, when you know exactly where that zone's going to go, it's a hard shift away from the water. Skyline and you probably still going to be in their position. And the problem is, though, they are going to have to be a little bit careful because K7 are trying to push in their backlines and Hacker is very isolated out on his own. Has spotted Quavo as he's trying to roll in very slowly. Shots coming out towards him. Does manage to land a couple of tags on towards him. Does land another tag. One more tag will do it. Can't quite find it though, as he does have to come off the shots. And now RMV in a bit of trouble here is Trace, who just seems to be on an absolute tear today. Finds his 10th kill of the day and takes the opening kill there for CoR on towards RMV.
Yeah, Zebo has to be careful here. He's caught from the team as well. But Marcos is still here. MY making their way around. GT losing member as they're going for a different cross here. Two players going different ways. Townie caught in the water as well. Dubhub taking shots from BT, who are still on the south side. WC going for a swim through ruins as well across Bermuda. And BT going to be coming up shortly after them. But yeah, Guetta had eyes on the rest of GT. And with MY coming around as well, two members, you wonder... you know, are they going to survive much longer? But let's go back to the north. F2S and K7 sending it, and there's pretty much one shack to play from here, and you assume both teams probably looking for this position.
Yeah, exactly. It does look to be that way, doesn't it? Skylink's going to take some shots down towards F2S and cause them to just kind of leave that situation. K7 have had to find themselves a way through towards the zone, and that just shows you how good they are at those rotates. They tried to go one way, realised there were teams. Tried to go another way. They were like, okay, we can send it down the middle. They were lucky not to lose any members there, but they are going to do very well. GT, though, are going to be able to find some of the members of Milky Way, though, as they try and rotate in. And now CoR finishing off F2S as they rotate literally right next door. Anthology, the last remaining member now for F2S. He does manage to make his way in towards this compound that Torch were previously occupying, but unfortunately it is going to be a solo, and CoR can be aware of this, and they're going to want to try and see if they can finish off this team.
Yeah, Torch are going for the push actually quite well onto RMV, finding Zebo, who just doesn't want to play with the team, unfortunately, here. JB and Takashi now confined to the compound of 2 versus 2. And CoR, this could actually provide an opening for them because all these teams are bit parts at this stage. Skyline still 4 strong at the top. K7 going to be sneaking their way in on the south side, and we know this compound is impervious to you know, teams pushing in from this angle. It is tricky to monitor, but there's the push, and I can't imagine we're going to see Skyline do much here. But Dig, did you even know they were still up? I haven't seen anything from them so far, but finding Macas from absolute range on Bermuda.
Yeah, exactly. Hauer, very lucky not to lose his life there. Needs Ollie to come in for the backup, but no, Hauer is going to go down. Sharky does manage to get it, and that's the first player on CoR that isn't Trace to be able to get a kill. As Trace picked up the 3 kills on towards F2S earlier as well. So, yeah, I'm sure they'll be pretty happy that one of them's been able to get a kill. But the problem is they've just highlighted the fact that they are there. Torch have backed off of RMV, and now RMV just got so much time to be able to rain the shots down back towards CoR here as they try and see if they can maybe get back towards their vehicles. Although I think vehicles are taking some shots here. Actually, no, it's the smoke that they deployed that was taking the fire, and they're going to be able to rotate round up on towards the high ground. But they're going to be rotating straight in towards Skyline and RMV here as they try and rotate round. So we see GT trying to push in towards Aguita. The zone has centered up, and K7 are dead center in this one.
They are indeed, but we can see on the minimap, look how quickly they're moving around. You have a lot of positions to monitor here. TSS, very quiet. Unfortunately, no one wants to push Cube. They probably recognise they're in there, but it's all on the south side. Obviously, the water is warm today because everyone fancies a swim. WC dipping their toes in on the north. Dig, 2 have made it across. 2 members caught on the south side with that confirmed coming in on Gazoo and BT. And raining shots still on Bermuda. Need to think about moving themselves. They are the furthest out here. It's a tricky one to play, but Trike finds another member in Wizzy there, and now Spicy Bra and Washed found as well. So it's all on Spicy Bra all of a sudden. TSS want to get involved in this as well. They want some points on the board here.
Yeah, they certainly do, and this gives a bit of an opening to you know, to these other teams that are seeing Dig fall down and thinking, you know what, they're probably not going to have a big kill game here. We've got a chance of closing this gap. I mean, it's been the situation of every single game But TSS seem to be taking this up as they find a kill on towards Zen King. So that's the first kill, I believe, on the board for them this game. TSS starting to try and close that gap up on towards Dig, as CoR trying to do the same as they right the way round. My God, that was hard to say. On towards Skyline EU. Skylinks was found. Is going to be all the utilities coming out here to try and see if they can find the kill, but not quite finding the right smoke here from CoR.
Hang on, what am I seeing here? Sonny has just pushed straight onto WC, and he's going to backfill into them. Surely he's going to find one. Is he going to find the second one as well? Dynamics still full health. It's all on Sonny to do something here. Sharky goes down in the north. We'll keep eyes on that. OG finally finished off. BAG do go out. He spotted him through the smoke. Has he? One more shot will do it, and it's actually Dub Hub, who've been making their way around on the coast, that they finally do pipe up. But we're going to go straight to the north. Skyline find their second one in Hauer. Going to get the confirmation on him. Ollie gets the return. Traves has been found. It's 3 versus 1 now. Ollie literally on 1 HP. Surely isn't going to be alive much longer. No, he's not. Skylink's going to confirm that one. Away RV getting 1 point in that as well. And actually Skyline keeping 4 strong. No points going for CoR at all in that one.
No, I mean, Skyline did manage to finish them off, keep 4 alive. CoR obviously picking up a few kills early on, so that is going to give them some points to currently puts them up into 2nd place. But the fact that you've got all these other teams still up, though, is a little bit worrying for them, as they probably will start to push down towards the table. TSS on 2 kills already, still 4 up, and they're going to start rotating towards the zone now. K7 are starting to open up fire as well, as they do manage to find one of EXH. And they're going to not stop there either. TSS trying to wrap in towards their position as well. So this could have a little bit of trouble for K7. They can no longer just fully focus on towards this fight. The cars, I think, were heard there by one of the K7 members, Aimbot maybe. And QDex is now going to start focusing his attention this way as he realizes there is a team pushing in towards their backside. K7 still doing a very good job of holding this down. Torch, unfortunately, do get finished off there by RMV. So RMV having a decent game here, if they've been able to pick up a few kills to their name. 4 kills on the board so far, but unfortunately down to just 2 members. And now their next fight is with Droideka.
Yeah, they're not going to have any rest here. RMV, Agüita clearly want to move in. They've dealt with GT, and actually TSS and K7 could be our next fight. I'm just going to get over to this Q found straight away. Double up and be back into this. Bravo finds Linkadox getting caught on the tree there. Polly puts some util in, but he is so isolated here on his own. Evo going to steal one away here, and Jimbo and Polly have so much work to do, so disconnected. Scott Kick, the M16 coming into play. You love it. Finding a few kills with that. An M16 player as Skyline actually now deal with EXH, who've pushed into the north. Quavo has been found as well, and this is go time for Dub Hub. Jimbo, once again, the last member up, is just going to have to run away from this a little bit, but QDex just holding around, recognising that he's going to be a little bit further out, but K7 need to try and stick this res as quickly as they can, because Skokik is just putting this M16 to work here.
Yeah, it does a lot of damage there on towards Aimbot. Polly is going to be confirmed there by Evo. So that's another point that K7 have not been able to get, and they're now in a bit of an unfortunate situation. Aimbot takes some more damage. They try and go for the res up on towards Quavo. He's going to be able to get, should be able to get resed here. He's still on first bleed, so plenty of time to be able to play with. But yeah, K7 really got to try and shape up here as Dub Hub are trying to get aggressive. Jimbo's still going to be in the backlines as well, so that's another player they are going to have to be thinking about. QDex finds the opening knock there, and Lizard actually coming in on the sidelines. He's going to be able to find Evo. Should be able to confirm that one away as well. Actually, I think he's just behind the buggy, so maybe not going to be able to quite confirm that one. And actually, K7 might be able to spot that one and steal that one away. It looks like that's exactly what they're going to try and do.
Lizard does find the point there. 2 members now in the backlines. Tyro found from Skyline in the north. Now they're backfilling onto Tyro. He was low. Quavo is back on his feet. Aimbot's going to try and stick that as quickly as he can, knowing that Dub Hub are in pieces here. Spicy Bra, keep eyes on him. He's been sneaking his way in down to his first 8. So now it's go time. He's just got to make sure he can find these points as quickly as he can. Does he see Mingo right in front of him? He spotted him now. Is he going to pick up a point? Remember, every kill here is just guaranteeing them that first place here. Has Mingo heard him? He has, yeah. Finally spots him at the rock. Got to be careful though. The nade is going to not do any damage there as well, as Dill goes really low. He's going to be found. Tyro's going to be found him. Spicy Bar just needs to try and hit these boosts, but unfortunately that nade is absolutely spot on from Mingo and gets himself another place bottom point there. Dig out in 7th, only a couple of points to their name this game.
Yeah, exactly. Really, really nice play there from Dub Hub to be able to spot that player. The problem is he has been spotted there by K7 and moves the wrong way. Aimbot will be able to confirm that one. And that's going to be Dub Hub going out with only 7 kills. It's going to be a bit of a way of closing that gap on towards Dig. But not going to be quite enough, unfortunately. And they're going to need a massive game. Dig might have done enough already to be able to hold on to this win and this lead with how the rest of the teams are playing out. K7, though, they're sitting on 7 kills. And they've got all 4 alive once again. Skyline have got 1 member knocked as well. And Aguita also with 4 members up, but RMV, they are the ones that are going to be at the numbers disadvantage here. Only 2 members alive, and currently just still in zone, so they can just hold down onto this position as Skyline EU and K7 going to have to try and battle it out here on this side. And I'm surprised that Aguita haven't tried to wrap around and get aggressive on this one, because surely they must be realising there can't be too many members left up. They're hearing the fight coming out, and this is a great chance for them to capitalise. It's RMV, they're going to capitalise on Skyline EU as well, as they find another member. Actually finds a third, and now it's just going to be Shane now left up, who's going to send it straight in towards K7. Not quite sure what his play is, but yeah, he's not going to survive much longer.
He's not indeed, and now we're down to our top 3 teams. RMV have that hill to play with, and actually this is where, you know, it's not often you see a zone like this, but they do have a good position here. K7 going to look to try and probably take this off them, but Pepiugi has made his way down into that little tree, just down onto the... No, actually he's playing in the middle of the open here, but he can kind of push up here. You do see a lot of third parties in these areas, and it's a 4v4v2 for the final position. But you look at RMV, they haven't had to move once again, and we highlighted this position earlier on. It is a really strong compound, and it has paid off for them with the shifts that they've had. And I think probably they're going to try and wait this out as long as they can. But as we're seeing, they're moving around. You can't afford to just wait for these teams. You have to, you know, try and play a little bit aggressive to force them into each other.
Yeah, you just have to be proactive. I think,
Yeah,
you
that's the
know,
word.
Aguita must have like, you know, realised the situation, or you'd hope they would anyway. They know that there's only however many teams up. They must have realised that K7 pretty much got all their members. They were the only ones that actually knocked them, and they managed to get rezzed up because they didn't get the kills. RMV, you know, they are the team of 2, and they heard Skyline and K7 battling it out. You've got to think, you know what, that's pretty much the last fight. Is it worth pushing ourselves towards, like, round that side of the zone to maybe try and get some kills? I think it is. You know, you're not going to be putting yourself in a worse position, because you know that RMV are up there on your north, and in the compound, they're probably not going to be pushing out, especially as they are at a detriment of numbers. And now all of a sudden, K7, they've got themselves a really nice position in the zone. They can hold on to this ridge. They can wait for teams to push in towards them, try and find a position in the zone, and they've got a really good chance of potentially coming away with the win in this game.
They have. They've got themselves a position in here, as you said, as well. RMV kind of looking towards Agueta's position to maybe try and backfill them, but I don't think they need to move out of this. I think they just need to hold as long as they can, but they have the high ground to work with. They're going to try and utilise it, but Agueta are going to be aware that RMV are up here. They know that there's a team above them. They can't really move too far off this position, but whoever really comes in the third parties, this you feel like could be the victor here. It's got to be very, very well played for me, any of these teams. Quavo has gone low, and it looks like they want to push around. It's interesting that both of these teams don't want to risk the north, but I think it's just you can't afford to trade here, because you will get third party.
Yeah, that's the thing. They know that there's probably only 3 teams left up. They know the distance between all the teams. If you go and wrap up there and you take a couple of knocks to ROV, you know K7 are getting aggressive on that, and the same for K7. If they wrap round here towards the north, maybe K7 not having quite as much info as Aguita, just because of the fact that they have been in fights for so long. They probably lost a little bit of track of the kill feed. They don't want to get caught out by a snake. But yeah, the fact that they're not aggressive on here shows that they're kind of thinking about, either they're thinking about, you know, the potential of a third party, or they're thinking, you know what, let's deal with the bigger team. Let's try and make sure we get as many kill points of that as possible, and then we'll deal with the 2-man, which is also the possibility that that's K7's mentality right now.
All 3 teams in this zone as well. They don't really need to move too much. Lucky leading the front line for Aguita. I'd like to see them maybe move up just a little bit, but you can't afford to move that, because K7 have eyes on that crate. You know, that is so bait when it comes down to that kind of position, because it's just that bit in the open that you can't afford to risk it. And RMV getting gifted a little bit here. They can just wait this out quite rightly, and K7 just edging around the south side. Same with Marcos. These kind of solos off on their own, you know, not really solo at all. The team's very close indeed. It's going to come down to this next zone where it shifts. RMV just banking on the northern shift, and given the space they can actually play, you know, I think they will be able to find their way in. But surely, is it phase 8? Are we going to see the fight, or is it going to come right down to the dot here? Do the teams have the util to use? Do they have those smokes?
I mean, it really depends on where the shift goes. I think if it goes towards Aguita, K7 have got to push in towards this position, or they're going to wrap round towards the north, and we could be seeing a fight breaking out. If it goes towards RMV, I think, well, that's kind of not really anyone, is it? But K7 kind of got the zone. Aguita might choose to wrap around towards the north, which I think it looks like they're already trying to do. RMV might then try and, you know, just take towards the northern side. I think, yeah, we could go towards this dot, but actually it looks like RMV want to try and get aggressive on towards Aguita, maybe thinking, you know what, if we can knock them on the edge of blue here, there's a really good chance that we do manage to pick up that kill, even if we do go down trying. So, yeah, I don't mind this play from RMV, just holding down that side, making sure they can keep that side to themselves, and Agüita using the vehicles to try and reposition here. I think K7, they want to get a little bit aggressive on this. They do start to step forwards a little bit. Quavo going for the slightly going downhill, just trying to get the wrap around on towards Agüita. Yeah, Agüita, they don't want to move. They're setting themselves up here with a bit of a car fort, and I'm not quite sure this is the best play for Agüita. I think they're just kind of, they're pretty much confining themselves into like a small corner where they can't really play out of, knowing they've got a team above them, and also knowing that you've got K7 on that side. You're isolating yourself, really. Whereas if you try and wrap around and try and get a little bit aggressive, try and get a bit proactive, yeah, okay, you might lose a member trying to push someone towards RMV, but there's a good chance you take them out, and that's 3 points because you get the 2 kills in placement, and then you just take your fate with K7.
Yeah, I think you're right. We're still looking for the angle. RMV thinking better of this, just moving up. But K7 did have a decent line of sight down towards the top of RMV, and I think they're using this to recognise that they can really focus on Agüita, because RMV don't have anywhere to work. And now we're seeing the util coming in from RMV. They're going to try and make the first move. It's raining in. Finds Lucky a few tags. Nothing really connecting there. The smokes are out. Agüita have a few to work with here. I think K7 only have 3 between them, I think, so it's a tricky one indeed. A burnt one already. Quav looking for that nade to try and get it up and over. Phase 8 is rapidly closing, but this instantly goes. Remember, this isn't a zone where you can just sit and wait it out. You have to then look to move again. They're trying to play north, maybe trying to isolate RMV, but they're just caught in the corner, and now the util is coming in. That nade was massive, finding Marco and Pepe, taking them both down to half health here, and Quav has just been allowed with these smokes, just a 9 line of sight, to kind of sneak round and just watch the push. And Marcos looking for the car, and this is where the smoke plays become tricky, because you have no info about where this zone is and where these teams are now.
Yeah, exactly. I think they've just pushed themselves out of line of sight of Quavo, but the problem is he popped over the ridge line. He's going to spot one. JB does get taken down, but Quavo going to be able to find Marcos, but instantly return that on towards Lucky. So Agüita doing all they can to try to stay in towards this one, but Lizard, unfortunately, in the high ground is going to get found. Takashi still hiding in the smoke here, as well as he's trying to see if he can possibly play. He's going to spot Lizard and steal that one away from K7, so they don't pick up the kill. They will have hurt the team here. Agüita, as now it's going to be down to Pepe Yuji, trying to wrap round here on towards this low ground with Lucky. Both together, both trying to play this as a 2. If they can maybe get the first knock, there's a good chance that they can actually do something here, but they need Takashi to try and do something up on towards the north, and the problem is he's confined to a tree. He's got the blue right on his back, and he's going to start taking damage from that as well. He is going to pop out. He's going to spot one. He's going to try and take him out, but no, aimbot's going to be able to get that one, and now it's a 2v3 situation. K7, they are looking so strong on this one. They've got the high ground. They've got the cover as well, and Lucky gets taken down low. Does manage to find Tyro, so that is at least 1 return, but he can't move from this tree, and just like that, aimbot's going to confirm it, and it's a 13 kill win for K7, and finally they have their first, decent big game of the event. And I think that might even be enough to put them all the way up in towards 2nd place. We'll have to wait and see when that updates. But yeah, K7 were sitting in 8th going into that one, 33 points. But that big 23-point game is going to do them a lot of good.
Yeah, it will really help as well. Really cement their place at the top of the overall leaderboard, which of course, prize money for that. But you can pretty much guarantee that is theirs now. But yeah, Agüita having a big game as well. But yeah, K7... back doing what we've come to expect, and the rotates, you have to put that one down. Of course, they got the zone, but they saw it early. The shift through the middle into that kind of open area in the middle, no one was around. They clearly, I don't think they even really had the chance to scout it, so you could put it down to luck a little bit, but they played really well from that position, holding off the likes of TSS, Dubhub. It was not an easy position to hold at all, and we saw how active they were. Skyline as well, pretty much taking out 3-4 whole teams in the end. So yeah, absolute GGs to them. Fantastic work. But yeah, we're going to take a very quick break and be back with our final game of CES in just a few seconds. Do not go anywhere. You don't want to miss this one. And here we go, just a couple of minutes until we go into our final game. We've been trying to do some maths and see how the leaderboard looks. We're going to get that updated as soon as we can going into this final Erangel. And I think Dig have pretty much got a money spot. You know, whether they can hold on, we'll have to wait and see, but they're in the money.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think K7 definitely in a position to be able to overtake them. Maybe even one other team, but I don't know how many situations you get where there's two 20-plus point games from in one game for two teams. So I think Dig have done enough to hold on. The fact that they are so far ahead of at least third place. I mean, second, I think Kinetic 7 are going to push themselves up within about sort of 17, 18 points, I think, if I've got the maths right. So they pretty much need a win with a decent number of kills, or, you know, a lot of kills in a second place, but they are pretty much looking for the top spots. If they go out early, it's pretty much Dig's competition, unless they also go out early and one of these third, fourth, fifth place teams has a massive game.
Yeah, a lot of love for Dig coming in chat. Tickle's cheering him on. Doesn't even want WC anymore. Wants the love for Dig. Let's see if they've got what it takes going into our final game. Here we go. Plane is up in the air, going from that north down into the south. And what a game this could shape up to be.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be a very intense game for a lot of teams. So many teams in a position where they can potentially, pick up the points, pick up the kills, and it's going to be close for sure. I think, you know, K7 definitely be hoping for that melee-based zone just to give them a little bit of an easier entry into the zone, as obviously, you know, they are going to be late out the plane as well. So not only are they going to be late, they're going to have to loot late. And if this goes towards the north like the last game, they are going to be very late into this game. I don't think they mind too much. They are pretty good at doing those late rotates and, you know, finding the little gaps and just sneaking in between teams. They just seem to be one of the only teams that's able to do it consistently all the time. Very rarely do they ever get caught out on rotate. But, yeah, I mean, we'll have to wait and see what happens. Unfortunately for Skyline, it looks like Hacker maybe lagged out there in the plane.
Second game as well.
Jumping at the very end. And, hopefully he does manage to get himself in.
Right, let's go straight over to Yaz, because we're seeing Dig once again contest with BHE in a northern compound with a third team imminent as well. Dig are going to stick it this time. They're not going to get away for this, as we saw, do you remember, in the Miramar yesterday, where they did get the second place in the end. They drove away, didn't want to engage just yet. EXH and BHE, the other teams in around here, you've got to be careful here. Dig, where's their fourth member? Gazoo just sat in a field, and Bernie's driving past him. Pepe's looking this way as well. Gazoo just on a rock. I don't know what has happened here, but just waiting for Bernie to run past. I wonder if he can actually even find some loot, but it's going to be a military zone to finish things off.
I mean, K7 needing the luck at the end there, and they have managed to get it. Of course, that looks very good for them in terms of being able to get a good position in this zone. It's what they kind of needed. I said, you know, if it goes towards the north, they might struggle, but I think they should be fine in this one. Going to get themselves the whatever spot they kind of want. I mean, of course, it doesn't guarantee them the win. They've still got to fight for it, but, you know, all four of these players, very seasoned players when it comes to the military-based zones, and they're going to be pretty happy with the fact that the zone has gone to them.
Yeah, I think they are indeed. And they've got a lot of time to work with as well. Hacker, the only member off there as well. Of course, CoR taking Severny, not Novo this time.
Yeah, exactly. And so, you know, I mean, Hacker's able to just sort of hold down that compound for the rest of his team. I don't know if he's actually in the game yet. It doesn't seem to be moving. But, if he does manage to end up getting back in, I think he's trying to get back in by the looks of things. It doesn't show he's disconnected anymore, so hopefully he'll be in very shortly. He's going to be able to loot that compound and, going to find himself in a decent position. GT going to try and get themselves across the bridge nice and early, but other than that, no one else already across on military base island. So plenty of, I think all these teams are going to want to try and rotate relatively early. You should imagine Dub Hub, they've got a long way to go, as of CoR up in the north, and they're definitely two of our teams that are contesting for that top spot. Still waiting for an update on the leaderboard. Not coming through just yet, as we do have... the API does take a little while sometimes, so we do have to just wait for that to update to give you the update scores. But yeah, hopefully that comes through soon and we can work out which teams we need to keep an eye on going into this final game.
I did hear you put a up-to-date quicker API on your Christmas list though, so we'll have to hope we do get that, but yeah, no chance really. We're seeing a few areas though with teams slightly, bumping heads. BT, TSS rotating past them, and MWay as well. Sonny looking for the boat, or the ferry, which actually has just left. Trike and Donny maybe on foot, as we saw in the previous couple of games. They've been running, they've been swimming, they've been all over the place these games. But with that big win coming out of the game number 2, they're in a good position. And actually, they could be looking. Yeah, I think TSS maybe have just spotted them coming off this hill. They could be looking to take shots onto them as the car rotates through here.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, TSS and BT very close to each other. I don't think BT in a position to be able to really take the shots on towards
they don't want
TSS and just going to allow them to just sort of get ahead of them. But TSS are going to post themselves up in towards glass, and that's going to cause a lot of problems for BT there. Shane's going to get absolutely battered by the car there as Guita just driving past. Not going to want to try and turn around and take this fight, but actually saying that Marcos is going to find Skylinks, and just like that, 2 of Skyline going to be found and go down. And yeah, the rest of the team just leaving off of this one. Going to try and rotate away, and that should be 2 nice points there for Aguita.
Yeah, good points indeed, and they've had a really good day so far of it. A win, a second place, and already picking up a few points this game is really going to keep it tight. But I'm going to go back over to this bridge because, excuse me. No, actually, BT not looking to get aggressive just yet. The mini-map does look a bit confusing. And it's actually Sonny on the other side who's just had to jump off this cliff here and is now choosing to go for the swim. I thought maybe I was thinking about it earlier, but actually no. But no, we are going to go over to the bridge. Let's see what's going on.
Yeah, we certainly are. It's Trike and Donny together being able to find Q. So unfortunately, TSS, after having a decent tournament so far, looking pretty good for this one, are going to lose a member early. And they were 3rd going into the previous game. Didn't see too much from them, and they probably slipped down the table a little bit. But the fact that they've lost a member early is not going to be great for them. Sonny is going to die from drowning, so unfortunately, MWay aren't going to be able to get the point for that one. But neither are BT going to be able to get any more points from Sonny for the rest of this event, as he is just going to be left for dead in the water. White's trying to regroup with the rest of his team though, and that will give you 3 teams or 3 players for BT alongside the 3 of TSS. And the problem is when you've got so many teams kind of all converging around the bottleneck, if they don't fight, then it kind of just causes lots of problems for any other team that wants to try and get across that position as well. Skyline EU, Hacker does look like he's back in the game. I don't know if he's only just got back in the game or not. I am seeing 1 gear on him, and obviously the 2 members of Skyline were lost early on, so yeah, not the best of positions here for Skyline. Stick's going to try and regroup with him, but GT already down on towards the south side here and around his position. Has so many teams now getting towards the coastline. Try and see if they can maybe get across towards the military base.
Dig, Agueta, EXH, all these teams are around each other here, just cars flying past each other at different angles. You can't risk running into the car, especially when you're on their own. Washed takes a chunk of damage there. Spicy Bar in return tries to find Lizard as they rotate through it. Agueta just going to pull up on this actually on the sushi buildings. You've got to be careful, Spicy Bar, recognising he needs to get away from this. Sonny finally does drown. I'm not too sure quite what happened there, but BT recognising they might not be within a chance of the money here. We're seeing Torch come around on this eastern side actually. And I thought maybe Jamikin and GT, there's a Townie in there it is, were maybe looking to push onto Skyline, but no, they're backing off and going to play into the western kind of radio tower area. But
yeah,
it's scrims over here. What is happening?
Yeah, so many cars just taking shots at each other as they go on the drive-bys here. And EXH getting a little bit lucky not to lose anyone there, but now Dig's going to come flying past as they try and get themselves down towards the coastline as well. EXH going to start opening up towards them. CoR already getting out the way of this one. The rest of EXH coming in a little bit late. RMV around here as well. We've also got F2S as well coming in late here down on towards the western side, and Dub Hub as well. They're still miles off. BHE going for a big wide rotate on the boat as well, so keep an eye on them. As a Torch as well, who are just getting into the zone now on towards the south side. There's absolute chaos going on all around the map, and WC, they have fully set up this bridge camp right now on towards the eastern bridge, and that could be really devastating here for Aguita as they start making their way over towards this direction.
Yeah, BHE taking that boat round as well, but yeah, we'll keep eyes on WC, CoR and BT as well. So many teams opting to play probably into Ferrybow. Looks like things F2S. Bearing in mind, Dub Hub still outside the zone, F2S still outside, just making their way in. We can actually get some comms in, so let's see if we can get on board with CoR to see what they think of this zone.
Is running. I swear one's just run behind this white on here. I swear guys literally just ran behind that white.
Can my red.
There's cars following us in as well, boys.
Yeah, there's a kid close left. You did see a kid. Running down the
Yeah,
hill to the
Joe.
left. Yeah, they've heard us.
How many?
I don't know, 2 at least.
Oh, I'm dead. Quick red Sharky.
These are one dead at least.
I didn't know he's in the
One of them
two
drowned,
stack.
didn't
I
he?
literally just chopped the fucking wall.
People coming behind us. I think.
In the building, Sharky.
Kid in this.
Another
More
car
cars
coming behind
coming
us. Silent and behind, where we pull the poly.
Well, it looks like we're going to be waiting a little bit longer for this fight to break out. EXH making their way in as well. Meanwhile, let's go elsewhere and see what's going on, because we have a bit of action on this western bridge. It's Dig who are losing members, and this could be very detrimental to their chances here. TSS, one of the teams right up there as well, who could do with the points. Kazoo is just going to send it across in the bridge. The 2 members have to be so careful. Him and Wizzy are taken so low with playing on the left side of this car, trying to make it across this bridge if they can. Jimbo just sending it underneath in a boat as well. He's been out for a crate, and actually I think Dig could get across here nicely with so many teams still not even in this zone. They could actually get gifted a really nice spot here.
Yeah, 100%, and I'm just going up towards the north as well as the fight finally breaking out here between CoR and EXH and BT. Obviously BT not really getting involved at the moment, but it's going to be CoR and EXH having to battle it out here as they came in for the third party. Pretty much just coming in to try and get some extra points done. He's going to steal Sharky away, so it's going to be at least a point that BT are going to be able to pick up from this fight. But yeah, this is just one of those horrible zones where, you know, so many teams around towards the south side, no one able to get across nice and easily. F2S have got themselves a boat, so they did manage to escape from that, and so have RMV actually. They've been able to get themselves a decent position. Breed out, and there we go. Ben's going to finally finish off Ollie, and that's going to be CoR going out there. Unfortunately, outside the money, sitting in 7th going to that game, so not going to be able to get too many more points there as we go back over towards the middle of the map, as it looks like WC taking engagement with Aguita.
Yeah, WC leaving this bridge, and they've decided to just move in. You know, if they waited a bit longer, they could have got some nice points on Dub Hub there, you think, coming out of that blue traits. Maybe memeing a little bit, got the 6x on the DP, maybe not found much else for range here, but Aguita are holding nicely at the top of this hill. Pepuji was stolen away by Mway, and it would be lovely at stealing these points away, but you know, a kill is a kill. GT are hearing these shots as well, opting to play into this, and this is kind of playing into the favour of these teams in the middle here. Dig sending it through, K7, Mway, probably haven't even seen a team yet. Everyone's probably wondering quite what's going on, because you haven't been hearing these shots, but let's stay with this fight, because Marcos is found by Macas at range there. Traits misses his shots, unfortunately, does get found in return. That's Lizard, and Macas just going to continue this push around to try and find these last 2 members here.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, it looks like WC going to be able to find another member as well. Lucky going to go down there as well, and just leaving Lizard as a solo member, unfortunately only picking up 3 kills as well so far. Aguita were in 6th coming into that one. It's going to give them a few places boost, but not enough to get into the money just yet. So Lizard Needs to try and do all he possibly can to survive this. Now we've got GT coming in to try and get involved as well as they start pushing up and towards the back lines. WC right near the bottom of the table. Same with GT. So both of them needing massive games here to have any chance of getting into the money. And I think for both of these teams, you know, I think it's going to be a bit of a battle. Both teams probably going to take a few casualties, and yeah, it's going to be one of those where you kind of write off the rest of the game. But yeah, for now they are going to be okay. As we see, you know, elsewhere on the map, it looks like, you know, BT trying to get across. They've managed to get themselves on the ferry. They're going to be rotating around. I don't know how. Oh, of course they came for the ferry pier. I was thinking about the other ferry. I was like, do they rotate all the way in the blue to get the ferry? But no, they are going to be on the ferry, but they're going to be taking a lot of damage. EXH still in ferry pier, looting up. I'm not quite sure what they think they're doing. I don't know if they realise that this zone does quite a bit of damage when it touches. But clearly they're thinking, you know what, let's just try and survive this one as long as we possibly can. They were in 8th coming into this one. They had a good chance of being able to potentially get in towards the money, but I think with this, the chance is probably just gone, especially with the fact that that zone has just popped.
Yeah, it has, but we're sticking with this fight as GT clean up WC in the end, keeping all 4 up as well. Walshy damaged. Jamie going to get back on his feet, but really good push as well. But yeah, when you talk about that zone, because it's pushed away from these hillsides here, Torch have a good position to work with. K7 have a nice little spread here, and you know, we're already down to 46 players. You know, there's not as many points up for grabs already here, but we're going to go straight into the south because Skyline, the 2 members, have the 2 members of Dig, and then 3 members of F2S are looking down onto this as well. The Util coming in from Styx and Hacker, but Styx can't hang around too long here. Wizzy switching to the shotting. I don't mind this at all at this stage. Styx just recognising, yeah, there's some shots coming in from our west. We cannot afford to get too aggressive on this. They don't know if this is the same team, of course, yet. Of course, they have no idea who this is, but spotting a couple of members of F2S here, taking some shots through the window, nothing connected. Lovely little pre-spray around the corner there, gets him on the peak. And does find the Heady, and Gazoo finds Arminius, and you know, if they've been reading the kill feed, now's the time to recognise that we can find some points here. They're damaged up, this team, already.
Yeah, exactly, they certainly are, and Dig not quite being able to get the confirmation on that, and actually it's going to be Styx that steals that one away. Just highlighting the fact there are 2 teams in this compound now. Dig still with 0 points in this game. They need to hold off as long as they possibly can, because K7, they are set up very well and in a really good position. Only 14 points in it as well for K7. They need 15 to be able to overtake Dig. Currently, obviously it depends on the tiebreaker. They can potentially get more placement points, of course. But currently as it stands, Dig with the advantage in terms of placement. QDEC's going to open up. He's going to find Polly, so that's TSS, who are currently in 5th going into this one. So we said they wanted a big game. They want to try and get into the money, but you know, not going to be able to do it just like that. Skyline as well, also trying to do the same, and the fact they managed to get a kill there on towards F2S is going to just almost push them in towards the money as well.
Yeah, well, we've got a second. Let's see if we can get this leaderboard up and see how these teams are looking here. Dig, as you mentioned, 14 points clear going into K7. Dubhub 6 points behind them. Skyline, TSS, and Aguita all with a good position. And with a good chance here with CodeRed going out, of course. In fact, Aguita, of course, just down to 1 man, so it's going to be a tricky one for them. And it looks like we'll go over to our eastern side. Torch are going to punish BHE. Dubhub going to get involved from range, finding Clift. Down to the back line. GT continuing their reign of terror on the north. They don't need to move just yet. The Util is coming in. County, they know exactly where this knock is. They've just got to try and isolate these players now. The res coming in. That's really clutch to get that off. This quick bounces off the tree. I think the Util just hasn't unfortunately hit the target just yet, but here they come. They're popping over, finding one. Jamie K instantly found there. Skokic going to get the flush. Do not want to wait around in this fight here.
Yeah, exactly. Walshy is going to be able to try and kill him in return, though. Skokic gets found as well, but Evo does find Walshy. So it's just going to be a 2v2 situation now to finish this one off, and just like that, GT taking both members out quick as you like, and that is going to be Dubhub going down. I didn't see how many kills they managed to get, but I don't think there's very many at all. I don't think they're going to be able to get any of these ones on GT either. Neki doing all he possibly can to body block to try and see if they can get the res up on towards Walshy here, and then he's going to go for the carry feature. 7 kills now on GT already. We see they need a massive game to be able to get in towards the money bracket, and Dubhub now potentially posting up that all-important you know, that all-important ladder. What am I trying to say? Target. Goal.
Target? I don't know. I wasn't really listening, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I have absolutely no idea what's going on. But yeah, GT need a massive game to be able to get anything from this one. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see if they do manage to do it.
Can we just talk about EXH and BT here? They were scrapping, or they weren't scrapping. They avoided each other quite well, actually. But now they are having to engage in the other ferry port here. And Donny and White doing all they can to fight them off. Ben's down on his own. Got to be careful. Maybe is he looking for that res now? He's looking at White in the compound there. I think he's going to chunk down if he's not careful. It's only phase 4. I say that's only phase 4. It's very bad indeed. But Donny is going to find him, clean them up, and BT having a strong start to this game as well. 6 kills, 2 members up, but there's so many teams are now preoccupied with each other. F2S sending it in to Quav's position. RMV going to find Gugoi, so now it's all on Koyomi to do something. And you've got to be careful. You're not feeding points to K7 here. And he's kind of rolling in between these players. I don't think he's even going to make it to the fence. No, he's not indeed. And yeah, he is going to be found. K7 picking up yet another point. TSS have moved away from this, recognising they need the points. And it is going to go into the military base. I was surprised. I thought it was going to go a bit further south. But actually, this is going to be a military finish. This could be stinky.
Yeah, I mean, you said about not feeding kills towards K7. Oh, Gazoo unfortunately does get found there trying to get out of that compound. It is going to be confirmed as well, leaving Wizzy just up. But yeah, as you were saying, you said about not giving points to K7. If K7 don't get 5 kills and the win, then they can't win. So if you just don't allow them to get any kills at all, they're in a position where actually all the kills can be taken and then they can just fight the final team, maybe get a win with like 3 kills. That won't be enough for them. So this is actually a time when K7 can't just rely on getting the win. They've actually got to go and get kills. It doesn't sound like a lot. 5 kills is quite minimal for the likes of K7, what we're used to seeing. But the position they've set themselves up in doesn't really lend themselves to be able to get too many kills. Wizzy, though, is going to try and continue to try and wrap in towards this one as well. As he's taking a lot of fire here from the likes of Skyline, and Aka going to be able to pick up that point. That's 2 points now on the side of Skyline EU. And also the placement point is going to put them up. I don't know if Dubhub managed to pick up any kills at all, but if they did manage to get 1, that puts them level pegging. And currently Dubhub will be taking the tiebreaker situation. So it's very, very close, looking for 3rd place. TSS as well, still in with the chance of getting that, and they're in a really nice position as well. Set up in towards the centre of the zone. And then of course we have to look our way towards Dig and K7 as well, who are battling for 1st place right now. I think obviously if K7 go out early, then it leaves 2nd place wide open as well for the likes of Skyline and TSS. But I think K7, very seasoned in these sort of zones. They're just going to set themselves up to a position where they can't really get shot at, so they can't lose members, and that's exactly what they're doing. And yeah, they seem to be surviving pretty well so far. You saw that Linko has already pushed in. TSS recognising that there's been some shots over this way. Torch are preoccupied with M-Way actually. And Linko's made a nice little play here. Jimbo as well. K7, of course, 1 point on the board. They need 13 more to take the victory here. RV going to be backfilling, but Skyline are getting involved as well. Polly at the top here playing off this... whatever it's called. What do you fight for in this area before the game? I have absolutely no idea what you're on about. Cool. Not training mode. TDM. TDM, that's the one. They are. And Linker putting his TDM usage to good use, as he does manage to get Qdex down and in a position where it's going to be very difficult to be able to get any sort of res up on towards him, so maybe going to lose him there. Linker almost going down there to that nade. Does manage to survive for a little while longer, but this could be the detriment of K7 here, as they're not looking in the best of situations. As Jimbo pushes around, he finds Wave up as well, and that's going to be 2 members left up for K7. No, it's not. Remembers Jimbo finishing that off. That's 6 kills now on the side of TSS, and that's going to put them up there into the money. And I think, well, K7 might not even get 2nd place. Dig, unless TSS absolutely pop off and get a stupid amount of kills. I think that might even be Dig being able to take 1st place as well and having their fate secured. Yeah, TSS can't think about it just yet, though, because RMV are getting involved, but it's going to be Linker finding the first knock on this. TDM coming in to great use, and he's got that great little cover on the fence, just that kind of bushy area. It isn't really hard cover at all, an easy spray through that and you're done, but finding one of RMV has just leveled this up so quickly, and he knows where these members are as well. Torch getting a bit aggressive in this. They're still 4 strong. GT 3 up as well. They've only got Lizard to deal with in the north, probably not aware that he's there. And all of a sudden, it has pulled down into the south. We're going to see where this next zone does shift. Hoping this goes north. I'd like to see GT kind of really benefit from this really strong game they're having here. But let's wait. With TSS now getting surrounded by Koyomi, is making his way in as well. And he's going
to Torch and GT here.
Yeah, it certainly is. And yeah, you know, Torch looking in a good position. I don't know where Torch is sitting overall on the leaderboard, but I think they're quite far down. They're in 12th place going into this one. So, yeah, not great, but he's going to find Jimbo. Not quite sure what happened there. Maybe just had enough of him shouting for res, but he's going to be shouting even harder right now as probably going to have to try and get that revive as the nades are coming in. And, oh, TSS might have just thrown that chances of being able to get a better placement here. They are going to have to get a revive onto Jimbo. No, they're not. The car blowing up. Going to be able to find them, and that's going to be TSS falling with only 8 points. I think they've done enough to be able to get up in towards third. But K7 still out in first. The thing is, Skyline and you now the next contender, and Six has been found. Hacker also going to be found straight after, and that's going to be them out. K7 might be safe in second now, but it is going to be so close around the top of that leaderboard.
It is indeed. We're down to our top 4 teams. Kaneki making the push across here to try and regroup with his team a little bit. I like this. Walshy up on the front lines here. Zebo engaging with Torch, and GT have so much room to play with. Same with Torch, but Torch need to clean up RMV if they can, because they're pushing into their position. If they can deal with this, they do have a good chance of getting the win here. Of course, GT, the only hindrance for them is Lizard in the north, and he is just creeping his way in. He knows as a team, Walshy's got himself an Orm again, so I hope to see him put that to use, but you can't sleep on Lizard here.
No, you certainly can't. You know, we've kind of been touching on the fact that GT always just scraping in pretty much every round so far. There's not enough points available for them to be able to get into the top 3, but they are going to be so close once again. Final game, looking like they're completely out of it and coming through and somehow scraping near the top of the leaderboard. So they are literally your last ditch attempt team kind of coming through. They seem to just have all their best games a little bit too late, don't they? But yeah, you know, GT 9 kills already on the board, looking pretty good in this game so far. But yeah, as you said, they have got to be a little bit careful because Lizard is still towards their north. I'm not sure they're 100% aware of him. Definitely be a bit of a thorn in the side for them.
No, especially when you see Walshy's position here. He's moved completely off this, looking for some points, quite rightly as well. You know, nothing to lose at this point. But, you know, at the end of the day, if Lizard pops up and all of a sudden finds one, could easily find Kaneki or Townie, you're so disconnected. That res isn't coming out, and you're all of a sudden down to 1-man or a 2-man, losing a player that you don't really need to lose. You just got to hope now that Walshy can find the points from this position. He's lined up RMV, but Torch are pushing in as well, so this fight is probably going to break out any second now. Torch just holding this line as much as they can. Koyomi doesn't want to get too aggressive, does not want to peek over here because he knows GT will have eyes this way.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it's a little bit of a stalemate situation, waiting to see where this zone does shift towards. Of course, you've got Torch, RMV, GT, and the remaining solo for Aguita still up, and GT get blessed with the zone, and there's really not a lot to play as well in between GT and, well, the edge of that zone there. So GT in a really good position to capitalize on this. Lizard probably just secured himself a second place hit, and I'm not quite sure. They were in 6th coming into this game. If Lizard somehow by some miracle wins this, he could do enough to put himself above Dubhub into 3rd and get the money away from TSS. I think it's going to be close, but all he needs is one more kill, I think, and the win, and he does it. So this could be literally the snake play of the century here if you manage to get yourself in towards that money. But unfortunately, RMV also playing very well. They were on 37 points, and they're on 10 kills as well. This could be enough for them to go up as well. RMV aren't out of it yet either. If they come away with the win, they also get themselves into the money. So this is so close here. I don't think we've had an event this close going to the final zone where so many teams have a chance of pushing up if they get the win here.
And Torch have played this really smart, certainly Fizz. Look at this, I thought they had the vehicles to work with, but they've actually just wrapped around on this, and I was saying if they wrapped hard on this, they'd have been in with a really good chance of pushing GT and getting them out. RMV going to backfill into this position as well. You know, Torch and RMV just absolutely bored of fighting each other. They say, you know, let's deal with this team, now let's fight each other. The issue comes here, do they know there's still the solo of the north? Lizard doesn't have to move. Both teams, do they recognise that there's a knock somewhere? Are they looking around? RMV, Takashi finds Fizz straight away. Merc takes so much damage. He's going to get found as well. Zebo putting in the work this game. And RMV having an absolute blinder here. Berner and Kiyomi very disconnected as well. The shots come out. Spotted him. You're looking for that 4th member though. And you know there's another one around. RMV surely have the knowledge that there's a snake here now.
Yeah, I think maybe the only team with the knowledge of the snake, unless Torch have been aware of the kill feed, is going to be RMV, because they can count the number of members. They know there's 5 up, and they know there's only 4 per team, so they know there's got to be at least an extra member. I don't think they're quite aware of where Kaomi's positioned himself here, though, so he could also cause some problems here for RMV if they're not aware. But yeah, it's just going to be down to Kaomi and Lizard, the last 2 remaining members here, and RMV sitting on 12 kills. I think they might have just spotted Lizard there, but Kaomi pipes up just as JB's about to take the shots. He's going to go down and hit the deck. And now Lizard finishes off Kaomi, and it's a 1v2 situation, as JB was confirmed there by Torch there. Kaomi picking that one up, and now Zebo, 12 kills on the board. If they manage to take this one, that'll be a 13 kill win, 23 points. And that puts them on 60 points overall, which is enough to put themselves in towards the money, and maybe even enough to put them in towards second place. So I'm not quite sure K7 got too many points in that one. So this could be a really big difference between pretty much first and maybe not even making top 3 if they don't manage to kill Lizard here.
Zebo's on 5 kills as well. What year is this? 2018? This is madness. RV having an absolute blinder of a game. Lizard's just going to deny it by looks at no, that was a tag coming in, excuse me. He has been spotted. Is that going to hit? No, he's managed to get the med off just about. I wonder if he does deny the points here. It might be smart at this stage. We haven't seen much denial at all, but now is the time really to do it. But, at the end of the day, 2v1, he's capable of it.
Yeah, exactly. It's getting so close here. And Lizard trying to do all he possibly can. Can Aguita somehow clutch this one up? But again, if Aguita managed to win this, they get more points than the RMV because they're already ahead. So RMV have like stupid amounts of kills. I'm completely trolling there. But Lizard might actually do enough to be able to put themselves into this money as well. So this is a big fight here. I don't know where it's going to land people in terms of the placement, but yeah, we'll just have to wait and see the leaderboard. But for now, we're just going to enjoy this fight, see if Lizard can somehow do something to clutch this up. He's going to push himself around, does spot Zebo. Doesn't manage to land anything there, and Zebo finishing it up. 6 kills for Zebo, 13 kill win here for RMV. And they've definitely done enough to get into the top 3, but what placement, we'll have to wait and see. But I think already we can crown the victors of CES2 Week 2, and it is going to be going all the way to disgusting.
Yeah, what a performance as well. And I am literally going to eat my words, because you remember, we've been chatting a lot. Of course, we chat a lot off stream, and I was berating Dig and the fact that they were our invited team and they didn't qualify straight away. It took them, it went right down to the wire for them to get to these finals, and now they're going to walk away with cash in the pocket, absolutely laughing after that.
Yeah, I mean, Dig coming in really struggled a little bit in some of those stages. Didn't do too much last week either, and they were literally like, you know what, we're just going to come in and just fight for it. We've got nothing to lose, and my God, did they perform well? I mean, you can't take anything away from them. Maybe getting a little bit of circle luck in day number 1 to get those 2 wins, but they still had to capitalize. And 15 kills, yes, you can get circle luck, but you saw the difference. EXH got circle luck today, and in their position, they couldn't get kills. They ended up getting 3 for the win. Dig got 15 in their position, so it really does show that they were being proactive. They were going for those kills, and it's paid off, and they've come away with the £250 prize for week 2, which is the biggest prize that we had on offer. Of course, we've also got to praise K7, as they should get our overall prize as well. Not quite doing enough to win today, but they were pretty clear going into in the total standings before that game. So yeah, we've got to be giving that to K7 as well. That's another £150 going towards them as well. So yeah, lots of prizes on offer, but we will have to wait to see what our second and third place for the day say, because it's too close to call.
Yeah, we're not going to hang around too long. But, what a fantastic event. Some of these teams that we didn't expect so much from have really showed up. Our teams, of course, our invited teams, really putting on a good show for us. And all the teams who've made it all the way through the qualifiers as well. BHE, hats off to them. TSS putting in a great performance, narrowly missing out by the looks of things, but very good stuff from them. It's been a fantastic couple of weeks of action, and I hope all the teams have enjoyed it so much. Of course, we need to give thanks to all our admins, all our mods, yourself, Zab, CC, who have had casting, of course, OH, who's been putting up the funds for this. Massive shout out to them, and some of the Torch Boys for funding this event and making it affordable and possible for so many different teams in EU.
Yeah, it's been a fantastic event. I've thoroughly enjoyed it, and yeah, the first fully free event with a decent prize pool we've been able to host as well. We've done a couple of little ones back in the day, but yeah, this is the first one where no team had to pay for entry, and I think it just led to such an amazing finals. You know, so many teams really fighting for it. It allowed a really good different mix of teams as well that we got to see, and obviously, you know, Dig coming away with the win. They're going to be setting themselves up for a few tournament entries coming for the next few months with that money for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Really good stuff from Dig. Great to see them take the crown in the end. Of course, it wouldn't be a core event without us already looking to the future about what's coming next. We have a lot of stuff in the works as well. Of course, right now, we really do appreciate your feedback. If you want to see different things from the events, if you are enjoying the events, please let us know. We're trying to put a portfolio together to send out to people to look for those sponsors, to look for that revenue to bring in, to bring you these events on a regular basis, to provide you, you know, with top quality content. So please do let us know what you like, what you don't like, what works, what doesn't, and we will try and cater to as much of you as we can. So yeah, we hope you've enjoyed the event. We don't have an announcement just yet, but we have some stuff very close in the works, so yeah, just keep an eye out for that, and we'll be with you soon for some more events.
Yeah, 100%. We'll keep you updated. The socials will be active. We've got the Discord as well, so if you're not following either of those, make sure you get in there. And yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching. It's been a real pleasure. GG's to Torch. Sorry, not Torch. Well, thanks to Torch for funding the event, and GG's to Dig as well, of course, for coming in first this week. But that's it for us. We'll see you on the next one. See you in a bit.
Take it easy.
Just roll in with my darling. We'll get